the handsome liberal RFK Jr. What is it? RFK Robert F. Kennedy apparently is out. So we'll talk about that. But it does appear as if RFK is going to drop out and likely endorse former President Trump. There is a message in that I certainly want to discuss. The notion that RFK would drop out of the race and endorse Trump leaves some questions to be asked. But before we get into discussing RFK, and like I said, that is the expectation. But before we get into discussing RFK, I also want to talk to you about the DNC. That's probably going to likely be our primary topic of discussion. A lot of you folks may not be watching the DNC. A lot of my audience leans right. The part of my beloved MAGA, I'm sure you guys are not sitting around watching the damn the DNC all night long. But you've undoubtedly seen some clips from the DNC. Certainly Michelle Obama's speech has been making the rounds on social media. Oprah Winfrey had some statements last night about cat ladies and saving during fires that made statements. Maybe you've heard Tim Walz's statement. So we're going to be talking about comments and criticisms from the DNC. This is the final night. So this is the night Kamala Harris goes ahead and accepts, makes it official. Arshafine, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. Starting the program off right. Big dog as well. So we're going to talk about comments and criticisms of the Democratic National Convention. So in addition to RFK supposedly dropping out and endorsing Trump, we'll talk about the main topic, which is the DNC. Big dog, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache, sir. And last but not least, I really hope this one is fake news. I really hope this one is quote unquote misinformation, but I want to run it by you folks just to get your opinion on it. Run it by the folks is what we always do here, just to see what you folks have to say. Now, what are we talking about? There are reports, and I'm coming to you with this because it came by way of PBS, public broadcast television. You used to watch Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and all of that stuff as a kid. PBS and CBS. CBS, well-known, reputable network, CBS. Both of these networks has reported that President Trump has been talking directly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, urging him in a ceasefire to help out the campaign of Kamala Harris. Now, this has to be fake news, right? This has to be misinformation. I don't know for certain, but I want to hear from you folks. No way in hell that President Trump would be promoting the continuation of a war with hostages continuing to be in captivity simply to benefit himself politically. No way in hell he would do that, right? So I want to hear from you folks if you believe this stuff is actually true or if it's fake news. I have no confirmation on it, but I can confirm to you that it's being reported by CBS and by PBS. If they're lying about it, so be it. But notice Trump. I don't know if Trump's released any statement on it. I don't know if he's been critical of the networks or anything, but they are reporting this. So we're going to talk about that. Looking in the comments, right off the bat. By the way, I got a funny comment I want to read, but before we get to that comment, we go ahead and give you the spiel of the program. We are MAGA friendly. We've been that way since day one. We always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA are our preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So when you're in the comment section, or even if you're in the box, speaking directly to yours truly, feel free to speak without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored. You can be critical of the host. You can be critical of other viewers. That is how free speech works. So get to the first comment off the bat. Likely there will be many others, as always, on every program. Michael Davis states, "You remind me of my uncle. His name is Tom, And Tom is in capital letters. So we got the first Uncle Tom reference of the day. Surely there'll be more, Uncle Ruckus, a lot of things like that. But thought it was kind of funny how it was worded. Appreciate your input, Michael Davis. Continue on with the program. Sir, are immigrants taking all the jobs in America? If so, why aren't we boycotting these businesses? It's an excellent, excellent question. If immigrants are taking, as President Trump himself stated, black jobs, and then I think he updated it later to say Hispanic jobs as well. If immigrants aren't taking all of these jobs, you raise an excellent point. Who's hiring them? If they can take the job, it has to be supplied by someone. That is an excellent point. And I agree with you. The businesses should also be held accountable. Good point. Looking in the comments once again, Trump best friends, Putin King. Wait a minute. Trump's best friends, Putin, King, John, dictators. Jose, I don't know what you said. I think I do, but I'll leave it at that. Unrealized capital gains tax is we can't vote for Kamala unless you have zero assets. Fair enough. I think there's a lot of Americans that may qualify for that zero assets comment. So we'll start out the program as always. Understand we don't block, ban, or censor. That's how we run it. Going straight to the box, asking that question. Do you have any comments, criticisms on the DNC, and what are the chances that President Trump would actually be trying to halt a ceasefire in Israel simply because it would be politically advantageous for him? No way he would ever do that. But I want to hear from you. I hope not. I hope there's no way he would ever do that. David Shadow. Good afternoon, David. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. Hey, so I would hope not, but I would also think that the leaders would not meet, like Netanyahu wouldn't meet with Trump. But also,
that's already. But let me interrupt you by saying that has already happened. Netanyahu,
yeah,
he went to not long ago.
I know it did, and I blame Netanyahu that. But because PBS broadcast over the air, the FCC has regulations against spreading misinformation. So you can take it and use that information however you want. It's not like the TV you pay for and all this. If you broadcast to the air, you cannot spread misinformation.
Oh, shit. We wouldn't have a network on television. So coming by way of satellite is coming by way of frequencies. And most local networks also have if you don't have cable TV, you can program your channels and still receive your local ABC, CBS, and NBC broadcasts.
Right. And they're controlled by the FCC. They cannot put out misinformation without getting in trouble. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So what you're saying is because it is regulated by the Federal Communications Commission, you're suggesting that means it probably is true.
Yes. If it's broadcasted freely and you're not paying for it as an entertainment, you cannot spread misinformation.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard that. I assume that it may be true, but I also assume that they probably aren't really big on enforcing it, though.
Well, I have friends that broadcast over free air, and they have to fact check everything they put out, or they get in trouble. Like I said. So
on conservative radio that's on AM, are you saying all of that stuff is 100% true?
I don't listen to conservative radio, but
you know it exists. Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was huge on AM dials all over America.
Okay. All right. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I remember people playing Rush Limbaugh at work, and people complained, and they made them not.
Yeah, but that's not the FCC. But that's not the FCC, as you brought up.
No, that's true. But like I said, FCC regulations say if you broadcast over free air, you still have to turn somebody in for it, and they have to look into it. But
I don't disagree. I understand your point. I'm just simply saying my guess is the FCC doesn't enforce that much at all. That's what I believe. It's like when I brought up conservative radio, you notice that hesitation, that pause you had, like, holy shit, because they're not enforcing it. I mean, when you listen to, because by the way, there were some liberal AM networks as well that failed miserably. Most of the political radio leans right, but they certainly are not always telling the truth on any of the networks for any side of the aisle. So if the FCC required you to be honest and not send out misinformation, they would never run out of work to do.
This is true, and I agree with you, but it's kind of like this app. There are things that are misleading, and you can report them, and they'll say no violation, even though we know there is.
Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe it depends on who's doing the monitoring.
Yeah, like I said, there's so much, even before the age of social media, like I said, just radio alone, there was so much misinformation floating around. The FCC ain't got time to chase down all of that. Unless it's something that could cause a lot of death and destruction or some major event, then yeah, they may get involved. But just some simple, where, like, let's say Bill Clinton is lying, he got more than just Monica Lewinsky, there's 6 other girls that is, they're not going to chase that down. I mean, they're just, even if it's a complete lie, they just don't have the time to chase all of that stuff down.
I see your point. And back to your original thing, if it is true, wouldn't that mean Trump broke, there's a law about...
Yeah. But you got to depend on the truth. Let's say now I'm not certain if Trump would have done something like this, but let's say he did. You got to depend on somebody to come forth and admit it. And Benjamin Netanyahu was not going. Benjamin Netanyahu, if Trump made this promise, then he knows that if Trump wins, he the full cooperation of President Trump. So he certainly is not going to admit the truth, and no one else around is probably going to do it either. It probably was maybe just between him and the prime minister.
That's true, because I often wondered how would they actually enforce the Logan Act.
No way at all. There would be no way, because Netanyahu's been to America. Trump can go to Israel. They can have this conversation in private. It's not going to be recorded. It's not going to be any way you can definitively prove it. Maybe there were some witnesses or somebody that could say yay or nay, but even that is likely to only go so far. I think that maybe possible Trump said it, but it'll never be proven.
I understand what you're saying.
All right.
Well, thank you for having me up, man. You have a good day.
Anytime. Appreciate you coming through. And by the way, folks, thank you for tapping the screen. Smaller crowd, about 400 of you in here. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 15,000. Helps out the FYP. Brings in more MAGA. You know the program is uncensored as always. Shalom. Thank you for the super chat. Joe Shalom says Fox News had to argue in court that they were an entertainment network to avoid being sued in the past. Well, but Fox, as I told my last caller, even if the FCC wants to limit misinformation, there's so much misinformation out there, they don't have time to fact check everyone. But as I told my last caller, if it's something that causes a major problem, doom and gloom, somebody actually loses their life, or in this case, suggesting that an election is stolen by Dominion voting machines, which ultimately led partially to January 6th, then yeah, now the FCC can get involved, probably because Fox News has such deep pockets. They know they can recoup the entire cost of their efforts, plus a profit. But if it was said by a regular citizen, they wouldn't have done that. But you're going to go after Fox News because they're saying that, these machines are switching votes from Biden to Trump or from Trump to Biden and all of this. And like I said, they got deep pockets. I think they ended up having to pay Dominion $775 million. I don't know how they got a ruling that big, or actually a settlement. Wasn't even a ruling. They agreed to pay it. Like, was the company even worth that much? Wow. All right, going back to the box. MAGA like headless chickens right now. AC, I don't agree with that. A headless chicken, okay, you decapitate the chicken, simply leadership. Now, if Trump loses as of next year, that could be the case. But right now, Trump is very strong in the lead. I don't think that's true at all. Going back to the box, why was RFK posting as an independent? And that's also what we're talking about. Before I go back to the box, apparently RFK, as of tomorrow, will be stepping down and reportedly is going to be addressing President Trump for re-election. Now, I made a video on this earlier, and I asked you folks, this guy went from running to be the leader of the Democratic Party to now endorsing Trump, apparently in cahoots for a cabinet position. So he will be on the Republican cabinet under Trump. Was he ever Republican at all? I mean, Democrat at all? If you can make that big of a change in the span of a few short months, the obvious question is, was he ever a Democrat at all? Now, you've seen Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Mitt Romney, and all of those folks speak against President Trump, but they're not serving on a Democratic campaign, actually operating as a Democrat in federal capacity. What the hell was RFK to begin with? Almost sounds like the likes of George Santos, where you're just playing like you're something that you're not. Going back to the box, Holiday 1360, good afternoon, welcome to the program. Yeah, Alter Ego, thank you. Actually, Blackwing Zero, good afternoon. Blackwing Zero, you're on mute, sir. I'll give you a second to correct that. All Harris does is laugh. You want a little girl for president? I hope not. I will say that even President Trump, we'll start the box over. Blackwing was, I don't know if it was on the call or something, but we'll take another guess. In regards to all Harris does is laugh. That came from Scott Van Thought. What do you mean all she does is laugh? She has a annoying cackle similar to Hillary Clinton. I get it, but President Trump is even now complaining that she's not laughing anymore. The currency he was getting off of making fun of her laugh went away once she stopped laughing, so she's not laughing anymore. That actually has stopped. And Trump is complaining about it because that's one of the whole reasons why folks are demanding that Kamala Harris give interviews, take tough questions. There's not a lot of material to criticize her on until she starts taking questions, and then you can say she didn't answer a question right, took too long, or said something stupid. What? They don't have any material to criticize her on. That's why you're hearing things about her laugh, who she slept with, what her heritage is. You don't have solid material, and Kamala Harris and her administration realizes it, which is why she's likely delaying the interview. She already knows when she takes the tough questions, the only purpose of those questions for the right is to find things to criticize. So she's not going to be in any hurry to give you material to criticize. I mean, I don't think Trump would do that either. Travelman, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. So what do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So what do you think? Do you think it's possible that Trump would have actually suggested that the Israelis hold off on a ceasefire just to help his campaign?
It's possible, but I don't think he did.
Okay. So it's
because I mean he is the dumbest smart person I know.
Wait. He's the dumbest what?
He's the dumbest smart person I know.
What? You gotta define it. What is the dumbest smart person? Explain that.
Because Trump is always talking about how smart he is.
True.
Right?
True.
But people are always making excuses for him. Well, he didn't know. He always got an excuse. Like he didn't know something. Well, he's a businessman. Well, he didn't know. No, he's been doing this since 2016. He knows. Yeah. He knows. My brain is this and my brain is that. No, your brain is BS.
Okay, let me do something. Travelman, hold on. Let me do something. I'm going to reset. I need to drop you because folks are saying they cannot hear you. I'm going to drop you. Come back and I'll bring you back on because everybody's saying they cannot hear you. Okay. So that means while I was listening to him, you guys are just staring at me and I'm in silence. I don't like dead air. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and then I'll bring up the guests. Let me know if you guys... Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm just sitting there listening. You guys don't hear shit. All right, so you can't hear me. Wow, that was funny. All right, we'll try it again. I don't know if he's in there yet. Well, we'll give it a second. Your mom's favorite. We'll give Travelman a second to come. All right, so hear you loud and clear. All right, fair enough. Dead air is Trump. Oh my God. Okay, your mom dropped out. Wow, we're having a bit of trouble here. Let's try it again with Scott Douglas. We're also talking about comments and criticisms on the DNC. Did you hear somebody say anything stupid or something that made you stand up and applaud? Scott, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, so did you watch any of the DNC at all?
I caught bits in here and there of it.
Did you see anything that caught your attention at all? Maybe something that was worth, applauding, or something that was worth really criticizing?
I don't really like on both sides, whether it's the RNC or the DNC.
Will you be voting at all?
Well, yeah. I don't really see much where it's just, basically them fluffing their own,
Well,
feathers.
but they do both state the direction they want to take the country in too, though, don't they?
Yeah, I would, yeah, as far as the agenda, but not really gets much spoke about until Kamala talks about it as far as whatever she's going to do.
Okay. What did you think of the RNC?
I think it was the same thing, you know what I mean? Just filling the void of time to basically bring the parties together, you know what I mean? As far as any outstanding moment that really changed somebody's opinion.
Okay, all right, hang on a second. Okay, I'm gonna have to drop you and try this again. Apparently none of the guests are being heard. Okay, what I'm going to do briefly, because the YouTube side is getting every damn thing, I'm going to entirely reset the live on TikTok. So give me about 60 seconds. I'll drop it, reset it. Hopefully we have, because I'm hearing the guests loud and clear. I don't know why they're not relaying the sound to you folks. So give me 60 seconds or less. I'll reset the live. So while that is resetting on TikTok, everybody can hear the guests on YouTube because you're hearing them literally over the air and it's coming in through the mic of my second device. So you all are going to hear everything on YouTube. Yes, all these billionaires talking down to other billionaires. Arizona shooter, I wouldn't mind having you elaborate on what you mean by that. Let me try to go back to the TikTok, get everything restarted. So hang on a second for my YouTube audience. All right, so we'll go ahead and start that. Idiots saying Harris is good. 2007, is that effervescence or Evan? Well, in regards to the suggestion that idiots are saying Harris is good, I think you're being a bit too biased, a bit too critical. Now, you may think Harris is the worst candidate in American political history. I get it. But you don't know what the other man or woman is voting for. You don't know why they're voting. So, I mean, there is legitimate reasons. I say this on every damn program. There are legitimate reasons to vote for Trump and legitimate reasons to vote for Kamala Harris. Depends on what your principles are. Neither one of these candidates is someone that absolutely nobody should vote for. We'd have to have a conversation about your principles. But there are principles. Depending on what side of the aisle you're on, depends on how your life is going, what's most important to you. There's a hell of a lot of reasons to vote for Harris and Trump. All right, I'm going to try to take a guest in right off the bat. Let me know if you can hear the guest on TikTok. Okay, Trig, good afternoon.
Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Okay, give me a second, Trig. In the comments, folks, let me know if you heard the good afternoon. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so they heard you. Now, I take it you've been watching the DNC?
I
have. What's been your feeling so far? This is the final day. I mean, are what they saying kind of resonating with you, or does it sound ridiculous?
I mean, you know what? I just think that this is the first time in my lifetime, and I'm 51, and I have never seen this much excitement from the Democrats in my whole years.
Not even during the Obama?
Oh, well, I mean, you know what? I'm a Chicago guy, so
then definitely.
I can't really like go with with Obama. I'll say this. It's right neck and neck with Obama.
Wait, let me make sure I get clarity. You see the excitement and support for Kamala Harris is neck and neck with Barack Obama?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? I would have to, I would have to see the kind of crowd that she could possibly bring, like, into Grand Park like he did that one time. I mean, that's the only way that I can possibly say, I'm going to judge, and when I judge it, I'll judge it just like that, right? But as far as these arenas getting packed and, But
hold on, Trig, is this actual love for Kamala, or is this a rounding amount of applause and happiness that you finally got somebody unlike Biden that's competitive to Trump, and it's more of a hatred towards Trump? Do you believe folks are that happy about Kamala Harris like they were about Barack Obama?
Oh, hold on. Let me say this, right? Off the top, what I do see is the real disdain for Trump.
Right.
More so than, okay, well, should we like think about the worst of two evils or whatever? No, we looking at like, man, let's just make sure we don't have Trump in there.
But that's what I'm telling you. That's what I was asking you. Are they celebrating? Is the Democratic Party super happy because they got competition for Trump, or is it out of love for Kamala? Now, when Obama was running in 2008, he's going up against John McCain. No way did John McCain have as many detractors as President Trump. That was love for Barack Obama. You're comparing these two folks together. Do you think the love for Kamala is the same or similar to Obama?
So I'll say this. I'll say, with everything that's going on with the country, with everything that, people have been reading them with Project 25 and all of the things that they've been saying that, if he gets in, this is what's going to happen, the country just really don't think that they can swallow that now.
But you notice you said nothing good about Kamala. Everything you're talking about is people.
I mean, now let me get to it. Let me just.
All right, I got to move you along. Go ahead.
Look, let me be honest with you. I like my black sister. She black.
I thought she was. Wait. You sure she's not Jamaican and Indian?
Tim,
I'm listening.
You got a drop of black blood in you. You are my sister. You
all
black,
right.
African American, whatever you want to call it, right? So I need people to stop going with this. Is she black? Is she Mexican? Is she Indian? Is she black? Yo, she black. Stop all that.
Somebody called her Mexican. Wait. Somebody called her Mexican now?
Man, people been calling her anything that they can think of just to sit here and try to put the divide between the black folks and the white folks. And I'm trying to tell these folks right now, stop it. Yeah. She black. Well, okay? We got black. Look, and if you don't believe she black, look at her hair. We got black girls. If it ain't her real hair, then we got wigs that do it just like that. So, I mean, I'm gonna need people to stop all that.
But let me ask you this. Hold on. Because if you're suggesting that you're likely to vote for Kamala Harris and you think she has the best direction for America, Chicago Toxic Donut on YouTube, hell of a name, says, how can she say she's going to do something when she is in there right now doing not a damn thing.
Okay, so let me just say this. I want y'all to start thinking about this really, really clearly, right? And go back as far as you can remember. I'm an educator here in Chicago, right? Okay. I want you to think about this very, very clearly. How many vice presidents have you known that actually had policy on the table as soon? If we can even go back as far as when Clinton and Gore was in office, and then Gore ended up taking the mantle and saying, "Yo, I'm running," and then I didn't hear nobody saying, "What kind of policy does he have?"
You got me on that. I got to agree with you that vice presidents, even Mike Pence, a lot of my beloved MAGA side of the aisle believe that Trump is...
No.
Yeah.
Wait, let's not even go with Mike Pence, right? Let's go back to the Bushes. George Bush, when he was running after Reagan, nobody said, "George, what's your policy?"
Yeah.
Tell us what are you gonna run on? Nah, nobody's doing that. All of a sudden, she should have policy.
Well,
right?
let me say this. She should be telling. Do you not agree that she should be doing interviews by now? She's 30 days or more. She's been at the helm, and nobody knows how she would answer the tough questions. Is that not?
So wait. No, let me just say this, right? So first of all, you had a shake-up in the Democratic Party.
30 days.
Oh, you had a shake-up in the Democratic Party. Now, you got to get out there and get stuff going and get stuff running, right? So now you want her to, instead of trying to get off and running on a good foot, now you want to get her in front of a bunch of cameras and start having people ask her a gang of questions just to, like you say, trip her up, make her sound crazy, make her do this, question her own policy and all of that, right? When I never, ever saw nobody questioning Gore, Pence.
But wait, hold on a second. Trig. Trump is 78. Somebody tried to take... Hold on. I'll let you get your point across. Trump is 78. The man took a damn bullet damn near to his face, and he's doing interviews and taking questions all the time, even in unfriendly environments like the Black Convention or whatever. You're giving her excuses not to do a single one? How is that?
Hold on. Let me tell you this, right? Trump know his ass is in trouble. He know that, right? So, look, yeah, you want to go into an unfriendly environment because you want to try to get the vote.
You're making excuses. You're making excuses.
You're not going in there for just, let me just answer questions. And then when he does get in there and answer questions, right, it's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors.
But that is what he is doing. He's taking questions in an environment where we know people are going to criticize the hell out of him, where we know he has no friends in that environment. Yet, you got a call? Yet he's willing to go in that environment. Why is Kamala Harris hiding?
I don't think she's hiding. I think what she's doing is she's being a smart politician.
Yeah,
right?
A smart politician in hiding.
I think she's a smart politician. I think that what she's doing is she's getting herself together to do the long haul. Y'all, if any of the reporters or whatever got questions, put them down on your little notepad and ask them at the debate and see if you can sit up here and trip her up there. But I can guarantee you she will be prepared.
All right.
And she will be ready.
All right. I think I heard a bunch of excuses, but you're always welcome on the program anytime. I got to move it on.
All right.
Hey, anytime. So looking in the comments real quick, I do believe that my last caller is correct. They're going to certainly pick her answers apart if she does an interview. There's no denying that. But they're doing the same to Trump, and he's taking interviews. So even if you favor Kamala Harris, you got to admit it is a legitimate point to make that Trump is willing to go out there. You might not agree with a damn thing he's saying. Maybe you think he's lying on every sentence, but he is going out there being willing to take the tough questions and the criticism that comes along with it. And Kamala Harris is not. That is a legitimate point to come up with, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. Anyhow, moving on with the program, tap the screen. Wow. No love for the program. We should be about 20,000. Not a single thumb in operation. Get the likes up to about 20,000. Wow. Since an uncensored program, we are MAGA friendly, but liberals are always welcome on the program as well. MAGA are the preferred guests. Nevertheless, anyone's welcome. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You don't have to agree with the host. And you can speak without being concerned if you're having your speech limited or censored. That's how free speech works. Ed G, ducking and dodging my moms in shit. Depot. I'm gonna let ducking and dodging my moms and shit. I like it. Thank you for the support. I am giving my vote to Trump. I expect a good return on that, says Stoll. Well, if you want a good return on your vote for Trump, first thing you should do is tell him, to give me a good return, be presidential. Otherwise, you may not win, thereby making me waste my vote. Everybody from Kellyanne Conway to Karl Rove to Nikki Haley, all supporters of Trump, by the way, are saying that if he doesn't stop the personal attacks, calling Kamala Harris dumb and stupid, nothing to do with far left policies or other reasons to criticize, calling her dumb and stupid, they're all telling him if he keeps doing that, he's likely to lose. You want to return on your vote, you should be pushing for that to stop. Your mama wears army boots. I don't know why that's there, but my mom's deceased. Let me see. Keep attacking. Please keep it up, says Stanley Peterson. I think you're being sarcastic. Sounds like a Kamala Harris supporter that wants Trump to keep, to some degree, hanging himself in his own campaign. Continuing on with the program, though, we'll go to Keisha Bowie. Comments and criticisms on the DNC. What have you guys seen so far?
Sweetie.
Hey, what's up? You've been watching, you've been tuned into the DNC?
I've been having a damn good time. I've been staying up later than I ever stay. I go to sleep early.
Yes.
I've been popping no-dos, baby, just so I can make sure I stay up to the end of the night. I've been having me a good time.
I fell asleep in the middle of Obama's speech, so I had stayed up all the way through Michelle Obama. I heard about 5 minutes of it.
Because you're not a Democrat.
What?
I'll sleep in the middle of Obama, baby.
I got sleepy.
He's so fine, you can't. With women, he's so fine, you can't help but to keep looking at him. So now, I didn't fall asleep, baby. I stayed up to the end because I like to see how he walk and strut off that stage. He got the best walk I ever seen on a man.
Well, I understand I'm not part of the LGBT community, so I'm not going to notice that. So Right.
That's why you could fall asleep. But I enjoyed it, man. That roll call was off the chain, wasn't it?
The roll call was certainly better than what the right did. Very energetic.
Man,
Lil Jon.
I ain't even finna talk about that damn funeral they had over there on the right. They like a bunch of stick in the mud. That damn roll call was so boring. Even Trump was falling asleep doing the roll call. He had to wake up and say what number you at, what state you at, because he kept dozing off. That was the most boring shit I ever seen in my life. It looked like it was from 1952.
But then let me put on my devil's advocate hat. How do you respond to folks who might suggest, on the Republican side, we're not about showmanship. We're about actually doing what it takes to get the country.
Let me tell you how they did showmanship. Rudy Giuliani was drunk and fell. Matt Gaetz tried to fight Kevin. Matt Gaetz' face was so tight, it looked like he was going from Bill Bixby to the Incredible Hulk and got stuck in the middle of the photosynthesis. That's how, if that's what they got, Hulk Hogan, come on. contents across her forehead. Baby, they had nothing going on that side. Do you hear me? Them folks they had ain't even relevant no more in these days. Who looks for Hulk Hogan? Who listens to Kid Rock?
Hulk Hogan did a damn good job. He
stood up there and ripped that shirt off. Baby, please, that been played out. We ain't doing that foolishness no more. They would have did better with Stone Cold and did Shattering Glass. But that little Hulk Hogan tearing that shirt, we ain't got excited about that since we were 2.
I was a big fan of Hulk Hogan, and I thought that was awesome.
Listen, the key word is was.
Okay.
Did you hear my boy say, turn down for what? See, we had concerts, man.
Yeah.
Each state had their own music. I don't care what nobody say. That roll call was off the chain.
I'm not going to deny that that's probably the best roll call in convention history. I mean, and certainly when Lil Jon opens up with the, I agree with you.
What you said, my boy. What you said.
I agree with you, but what about substance? You're bragging about showmanship. The right is saying they have substance.
Let me tell you, I thought the speeches were very uplifting. I think that our party has a new hope now. I really do. I see joy. I see we're not doom and gloom. We're up there spreading joy and positivity, and we're standing together as one. I just see a new fire under the Democratic Party. I really, really do. And if you don't feel it, something wrong with you.
But is that fire that's under the Democratic Party? Is that a flame that's been lit by Kamala Harris, or is it something that has been lit by the notion that we finally have a chance to beat Trump?
Let me tell you something. I think it's both. I think that because the messages she's been saying in her rallies and stuff, I think people are learning more about her, and the more they learn about her, the more they like her. Versus what they saying about her in the streets, when they see her, you know, with her vision and stuff, that kind of draws them in. So it might not draw you in, but I know people that it actually changed their mindset about her, because nobody really knew about Kamala for real. Let's just be honest. She was the VP.
Okay.
When she became the nominee, then all this stuff came out. She was on her knees, which I don't see nothing wrong with being on your knees. If it gonna get you to the top, you know, I'll get on mine. But what I'm saying is this. She had an affair with a married man. Whoop-de-doo. Who hasn't had an affair with a married man? I've had affairs with plenty of them. But what I'm saying is this. That's a lie I did. I was just making a joke. But what I'm saying is this. All the negative stuff came out, and now we're getting to see her. They're running down her record. They're showing us all this stuff, and we're getting to know who Kamala is.
Well, speaking of knowing who Kamala is, this is a statement coming off of YouTube. Somewhat. We'll let you tackle it. Marco Rivera says Kamala the chameleon is playing black people, as if she doesn't have what's best.
What's his name?
Marco Rivera.
How you gonna tell somebody black about somebody black playing them? Find you a friend. Why don't you go find your folks and see if they playing you, or if you playing your folks? Mind your own business, sir. I wouldn't give a damn if Kamala was turquoise green. I don't care. Y'all concerned about her color. We're not.
No, why is that coming up though? Why? You're right.
Because they have nothing else, handsome. Like I said, when the woman was vice president, Joe Biden just hired her because she was black, to pander to the black community. Now all of a sudden she ain't black. Make up your mind. Y'all making her a chameleon because she black when you want her to be, and she ain't when you don't.
I think there is a little bit of that. Ed G on YouTube says the Democrats. He's saying here's the message from the Democrats. I'm voting for her because they had better music than the Republicans. Is it really that simple?
No, it's not. We have better people.
Wow.
I'm going to say it again. Rudy Giuliani was falling down drunk. Matt Gaetz tried to fight Kevin. His face was tighter than any virgin on her wedding night. And you had Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock giving messages. You had Amber Rose with a whole scoreboard across her forehead, you know, because she done been with everybody, and maybe they liked her because her Melania had that in common, you know, both porn stars. So she probably was representing Melania. So now,
oh my God.
So leave outside alone. Leave us alone. We had Oprah Winfrey. Come on. Listen, wait a minute, handsome. We had Stevie Wonder, who still sound the same. Even though he probably ain't got but 2 suits and his wife lying to him, letting her rub his hand across her clothes in her closet. But we still had Stevie. We got people that are still relevant.
I don't know.
We had Republicans on stage at the DNC going against Donald Trump. How many Democrats was on the stage at the RNC going against Kamala?
Yeah, that's a good point. I gotta ask you this. This is something you're generally only hearing on the right. I don't know if you hear it on the left as much, but apparently it is true. Bad Christian, what the hell of a name. Bad Christian wants me to ask you about the pregnancy termination bus that was apparently available outside of the DNC in Chicago.
Hanson, let me say this. It was a clinic, but it was down the street. And they said that clinic has been there before the DNC even got their stuff together. But people want to make it seem like they showed up and they giving abortions outside the DNC. How stupid does that sound? We in there rocking and y'all out here giving abortion and vasectomies. Half of some stuff just sound too stupid to even repeat.
All right, I'm just letting you know it was all over right-wing media. I gotta move it on,
but of course it was, because they don't have common sense. Just like they sitting up talking about Gus, Tim's son. Now that young man has autism. He's nonverbal. He stood up and clapped. You could see the love that he has for his dad. Yeah. That his dad got to be a loving father for the way he carried on. And they over here saying negative stuff about this baby because there are low lives on their side, Tim. Yeah. You can't pay attention to nothing they say because they don't care. They're very heartless, unempathetic people.
Well, speaking of being unempathetic, that same individual wants me to ask you, how many pregnancy terminations have you engaged in?
Let me see. I got.
You don't have to answer that.
No, because I like to make them look stupid. I had 2 kids. I had 3 pregnancies. The pregnancy that didn't make it, the baby passed when I was 2 months pregnant. So I had to have a DNC, which is considered an abortion. So I had 1.
All right, fair enough.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't even ask that because it wasn't the super chat, but I saw it in the comments.
It ain't bothering me. It's okay. You know, I keep telling you, these people can't get to me.
All right, fair enough. You always stand your ground like you're in the state of Florida somewhere. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. All right,
sweetie.
Anytime, babe. Anytime. Moving the program on OG Do. Thank you for the super chat. The Brunson Brothers Supreme Court case, the Smartmatic bribery scheme, and the Donald J. Trump executive order 13848 will expose voter fraud in 2020. Just to point that out, OG Do, I don't know how, I think you watch fairly often, and certainly you show the program some support, and I want to thank you for that. You know what I always say. I certainly believe there was voter fraud in 2020. I don't, just because I lean left on some issues, I don't believe voter fraud existed. However, and before I get into this, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 35,000. EK, yeah! Appreciate the hat and mustache, setting the program off right. Thank you for your support. Get the likes up to about 35,000. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. That's how the program is ran. Smash that like button on YouTube, if you will. 115. Small number. Get us up to about 115. Top 3 dots on the upper right of your corner will give you access to the like button. Smash that like button. Voter fraud in 2020. It's off the topic, but I will say this. Even if what you're saying is correct, Trump's executive order 13848 will expose voter fraud in 2020. That doesn't mean that Trump won the election. I've said this many times. There are Republicans that cheated in 2020 as well. Exposing voter fraud doesn't mean a damn thing other than it was not 100% accurate. Country has 350 million people. 80 some odd million reportedly voted for Biden, 70 some for Trump, 150 million plus voters. Yeah, that was some fraud. There's been fraud in every election we've ever had in this country. Hell, I couldn't vote in most of them. So clearly those weren't free and fair. But fraud doesn't equate to what Trump is saying, which is that he won by a landslide. Let's say, for instance, Trump won or Trump lost in, let's say in Georgia, find me 11,000 votes. Let's go with Georgia. Let's say you found 4,000 cases of fraud in Georgia. Okay, then Trump lost by 7,000 votes. Fraud doesn't equal a Trump victory. That's all I'm pointing out. So yeah, if he shows us some voter fraud, so be it. But that doesn't automatically equate to what he is telling folks, which is I won by a landslide. I don't think you'll ever come close to finding evidence to that. None whatsoever. Looking in the comments and tap the screen, folks. Appreciate you guys getting the likes up. Wait, you were a felon. Laugh, man. I don't know what that means there, Tommy. It's all in y'all's faces. 45, 47, what the fuck? Wake up. Jay Rich is not in our faces. It's not even in the faces of other Republicans in Washington. How many Republicans? Not take liberals completely out of the damn picture. Let's talk Republicans. Let's talk Trump supporters. How many Republican senators, Republican governors, or Republican members of Congress are saying Trump won the 2020 election by a landslide? How many? How many members of his own damn cabinet are saying he won the 2020 election by a landslide? It's all in our faces. It's not even in the faces of the people who would have actually been in power for another 4 years. Even they're coming out and saying, yeah, we lost this shit. What do you mean it's all in our faces? Go tell them that. Naeem Barbara, Tim MAGA is the new Dallas Cowboys. I already know where that's going. Thank God you didn't say Chicago Bears or Chicago Cubs, but Tim MAGA is the new Dallas Cowboys. It was America's team. Always the year, and they would be if the owner paid to people. Yeah, that sounds like some of the teams I've been known to support. So you're saying that America's team that continues to lose because they're not paying the people properly? Am I interpreting that right? Let me go back to the box. Continuing on with the program, we will go to Travelman. It was on earlier, one of my subscribers. You know, we always get the subscribers first digs. Travelman, good afternoon. Appreciate you holding on there. So, where do we drop off at?
I forgot, man.
Okay, so
we were talking about Trump was the dumbest smart person I know.
Yeah, what the hell did you mean when you said that?
Because he's supposed to be such an intelligent guy. He graduated from Wharton and all this. He's a great businessman. But you always have people making excuses for him. Yeah. Well, you know, he didn't know. You know, the things that he did that they say is illegal. Well, he didn't know that he couldn't do that. Well, he was the president of the United States. And some of this stuff he did, he had been in for 2 or 3 years. But they still claimed ignorance. But every time he does something, people make excuses for him.
But would you not agree that Trump is a smart person? Really?
Okay, I give him the benefit of the doubt. I give him the benefit of the doubt.
He's a billionaire with several businesses. I mean, the guy is.
Yeah, he's a billionaire that inherited hundreds of millions of dollars from his father. Now,
okay,
let's not forget that. Okay, now Bloomberg did a report, and they said that if Trump was the CEO of a company, this was when he was president, he would have been fired a long time ago.
Damn.
Okay, he is a middling. He's a middling businessman. He's not on the upper level of billionaires. The Trump Organization is a niche company that's run out of the 26th floor of Trump Tower. It's not a large organization. It's a family-owned business.
Well, yeah, but he's also been able to schmooze his way among some of the highest level folks, even in terms of world leaders. I mean, he had a hit television show. You don't think this guy's smart?
He's a master. He's a good marketer. Yeah. He's a good marketer. He really is.
So give him credit.
But Trump makes W look like an intellectual.
Yeah. So he is smart then.
Okay, we'll give him some.
Are you a never Trumper? Do you have a case of Trump derangement syndrome? Some of my folks are going to say you have Trump derangement syndrome.
And you know what I was saying? Head up Trump ass syndrome.
You breaking up. Repeat that.
Head up Trump's ass syndrome. HUTAS.
Why did
Okay.
you?
I have been following Trump.
Go ahead.
Hold on a minute. I have been following Trump since the 80s. I've read all his books. I know about his failed business dealings, the big land deal he had up in New York, the first one that the Chinese took him to the cleaners on. So no, I don't have TDS. I've just been following him a long time.
Okay.
And I know how he treated his people.
Well,
Okay.
Speaking of what you're saying how he treated his people and how you've followed him for a long time. Brenlin on YouTube points out, just remember how much people loved him before he became president of the United States. He had a lot of support, even among some of the most elite in the black community.
Did they love him or did they tolerate him?
Mike Tyson still speaks favorably of him. Judge Joe Brown.
Mike Tyson is one person. He's a boxer.
Judge Joe Brown is another one.
He got awards because of things that he donated. They didn't, NAACP just didn't give him an award just for the hell of it. They gave him an award because he was donating things.
Then what the hell does that say about the NAACP?
Hey, they call it like it is.
Yeah.
Call it like it is.
So,
but also you got to remember, at the time that he was doing all of this, he was not where he's at now. Trump is a New York Democrat. He's like Michael Bloomberg. He's a New York Democrat that turned Republican to run for president. Yeah. So at the time he was doing all that stuff, he was talking Democratic stuff. He was doing it, hanging out with Slick Willie and Hillary. Okay, that's what he was doing.
Well, while you're bashing, while you're bashing Trump at that level, you're suggesting that Trump turned into a Republican, even though he was a Democrat to run for office. How would you respond to some folks who might say that when you look at the record in the history of Kamala Harris, with her locking up folks, a lot of them being African American, maybe she is just turning into a Democrat to run for office too?
Well, also, if you go back and look at the record, that's a talking point. All the people that they claim that she locked up, all the brothers they claim she locked up because of marijuana possession, this, that, the other. I think it was like 1,900 of them. What, 45 of them or whatever actually went to jail. And this is another case in point. You are the AG. You're a prosecutor. Yeah. If you go in there and interact with the prosecutor, that means you did something wrong.
I don't disagree with that.
Right?
I don't disagree with that. So,
okay.
Do you feel confident she's ready for the job? Why isn't she taking interviews?
My take, I think in the next week or so, I think we'll see her doing interviews. I'm not making excuses for her. She came on. You got to stand up. You got to stand up a campaign. You got to get ready for the DNC. You got to select a vice president. You got a lot of things going on. Granted, she could have sat down. Right. But once again, when you got momentum going like that, why interrupt your momentum? Now, I hope she do sit down and talk, because my belief is that, see, for one thing, everybody's, she's dumb, she's this, she's that. She's not dumb.
No, I don't believe that.
She's not dumb. Let me tell you something.
But you tried to start. Wait. You're about to give me a reason why Kamala Harris is not dumb. But you started out indicating that Trump is. I think you're a little bit biased, maybe.
No.
Okay.
No. Number one. Okay. Her daddy didn't get her into business school or into college. She got in there on her own. Okay. She come from a family of scholars.
Okay.
Right. Even her sister is on point. Right. You don't get to be the attorney general of the second largest DOJ in the country by being dumb. That means in the state of California, a state of 40 million people, they voted for her. Right.
Yeah. Let me just stop you and say this. You don't have to explain to me that she's not dumb. I mean, the idea that you get just passing a bar and becoming an attorney requires a little bit of brains by itself, but then rising to the upper echelons of legalities, for lack of a better term. She was an attorney general and a district attorney. Yeah, you don't get there and maintain that position and get those promotions.
Especially in California.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't buy into the notion.
They have one of the toughest bar exams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't buy into the notion that she's dumb.
But can I make one thing right quick before you go? I tell people all the time, when you're dealing with a black woman that operates at that level, She does not play. They're very good at what they do, and they're also very intelligent because they have went through hell to get to the position where they're at. Whether it's in a high position in government or as the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or the Supreme Court or whatever, they're very good at what they do because they have went through the trenches to get there.
So what are you saying that maybe? What are you saying that maybe Trump is going through a segment of Attack of the Black Women, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, and now possibly Kamala Harris?
Oh, I'm not going to say that. It's just the fact that they on his case. You know, for lack of a better, let me put it like this. They all up in his ass. Okay? Let me put it like that. And he's already he's lost the one with Letitia James. He's lost to her. And he's praying like hell they get Fonnie Willis off that case.
Yeah. Because
once again, that's another lady that don't play. Yeah. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Okay? He got to go up and campaign against her. She's not dumb.
You know the unusual thing, the 34 felonies that they scored against him, that also was by an African American, Alvin Bragg. Everybody that has got him so far, or that are in line to get him, with the exception of Jack, everybody else is black. What the hell is that?
Hey, but check this out, because they like to complain about his 34 convictions, right?
Right.
34 out of 34. Usually when you have that many cases against you, 3 or 4 of them, 6 or 7 of them, some of them get dropped. They got this dude on every single count. Every single count they got him on. Not 35, not 33, not 31. They got him on all 34 counts. That's a lot.
Yeah, some people believe that was hyped up simply because they didn't like the man. I got to move it on, no trouble, man. Appreciate you coming in here.
Hey, thanks for taking it.
Anytime. All right, moving the program on. By the way, as always, tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 50,000, FIDDY. Get the likes up to about 50,000. Looking in the comments, 34 felonies, sentencing imminent. I don't know if Trump's going to look. Does anybody believe when it's time to sentence Trump, he's going to actually be incarcerated at all? Is there anybody that believes that? I'd be curious to see in the comments. Is there anybody that believes that, man? I mean, okay, he has a sentence date coming up. So what? It's not, if he doesn't get any time, then the rest of it is kind of moot. Is there anybody that believes he's actually going to get time inside? Even if it's house arrest, is there anybody that believes that's going to happen at this point? I think that Trump, this is what Michelle Obama, I know some of you folks may have no patience, no tolerance for Michelle Obama at all, but this is what she was talking about when she said, some people don't get to fail forward, as opposed to if things don't go your way, you don't get to change the rules so that you keep winning. I gotta say, while a lot of folks believe that the cases against Trump are witch hunts and all sorts of, there's a lot of Americans that go down in regards to witch hunts. A lot of Americans get charged with stuff that are bullshit, and they don't get the outcome of Trump. To some degree, yeah, the rules changed in favor of Trump. Shout out to the Supreme Court if you're on the side of Trump. They gave him an out. I mean, the rules have changed in his favor. You or me, if a judge, if a prosecutor has it in for us, even if it is bullshit, we're likely to go down. That's it. We're going to go down for it. Not only did he really escape any significant punishment, he got to say all kinds of bad shit about the judge while the case was going on. You think you could get away with that? Does anyone think you could get away with that? Even if the case was 100% bullshit, do you think you could do what he did and escape with not a single day in jail? Not even handcuffs. So trying to point that out for folks who say that it's a two-tier justice system and, it's a witch. He's benefiting from a two-tier justice system as well. Even if the charges are bullshit, he is benefiting in ways that you or I would never dream of. Would never happen. Looking in the comments, Crystal Lopez, Judge Merchan's daughter, is telling people Trump won't make the debate because he will be in Rikers. Wow. You're saying the judge is actually telling people that Trump won't make the debate on September 10th because he'll be in Rikers for 1 year. When is the sentence date? Damn. I don't. What is the actual date of that? Somebody type that in there. I'm thinking that might be speculation, Crystal. But when is the actual date of sentence? Some 18. Okay, well, if the sentence date is September 18th, as some of you were saying, the debate is the 10th. So the first debate. Now the other two debates, maybe, but the first debate is the 10th. You think Kamala Harris, when having to debate Trump and all of the gotcha questions and trying to show each other up, you think she's not going to bring up that this man is only 8 days away from being sentenced? That's probably going to come up. The prosecutor and her, when they start talking about, well, how can you depend on Kamala when you don't know what she stands for and things like that? The counter is obvious. How can you depend on Trump if you don't even know if he's going to be free? I'm just telling you how I would answer that. You know, not bashing or not supporting. I would answer it in that manner. How do you know you can support him when you don't know if he's even going to be a free man? Looking in the comments, Ace Ventura, and thank you, Crystal Lopez, for the support. 11 contempt of court charges is 6 months in jail for normal people. Wow. I just watched a video of a man. I don't know if it was a speeding charge or something like that. It's been all over YouTube. But he was not happy with what the judge was telling him. And he said, F you to the judge. The judge stated you got, I think, 31. I don't know how. Well, first he threatened him with contempt. The guy cussed at him again. So he said you got a certain amount of days. The guy cussed at him again. Some of you folks may have seen this. He racked up several hundred days of contempt charges, and the judge ended by saying consecutively. That was just on the internet floating around, I think, last week or the week before last. So, yeah, Trump certainly benefited in ways that you or I never, ever would. Ed G, never seen a person with 5+ real felonies not go to prison. Yeah, not even handcuffs. Not even handcuffs. Not even a mugshot in New York. You ever seen anybody with you don't even get arrested nowadays without getting a mugshot. Certainly for a charge that's considered a felony. A lot of folks get their criminal charges dropped, got charged with some bullshit, and they still had a mugshot. They still got placed in handcuffs. He is benefiting from a 2-tier justice system while he's complaining about it. Twain to square. I'll go back to the box shortly. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 60,000. I'm asking a little bit much. I get it, but you folks, appreciate you here with me on this Thursday evening. You could be anywhere. Thank you for tuning in. Twain the Square says, my mom said, never tell a lie. Don't always tell the truth sometimes. Just shut up. I like that. Sometimes it may not be in your best interest to tell the truth. So being quiet might be the most advantageous position. What is the common phrase? A woman, how do I look in this dress? Sometimes telling the truth might not be good for your relationship. However, you don't have to be brutally honest either. You don't have to look at her in the dress and say, you remind me of a bag of leaves in the fall. You don't have to say that. Just be quiet. I agree with that. All right, moving on with the program. Somebody said impossible for Trump. That's a problem. If he's having an impossible time keeping quiet, that's not helping him out. Billy Clint, good afternoon. Trump train is rolling. We'll see. 75? Is it 75 days? 75 days until Election Day? Bringing up Billy Clint. By the way, folks, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, congratulations, you're in the right damn place. We're here Monday through Friday. We are MAGA friendly. Every day, all day. Liberals are welcome as well. If you enjoy open dialogue, left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with QAnon, follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Crystal Lopez, ever see a judge turn misdemeanors into 34 felonies? I don't think the judge was the one that did that. I think you would blame that on Alvin Bragg. The judge doesn't charge you with a crime. So if you come to court with misdemeanor, I don't believe the judge gets the blame for that. That would be Alvin Bragg, I think you want to go after. Continuing on, my last guest dropped, so we will bring up another. Shungbai, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Shungbai. If Trump doesn't win, I just want to see what's going to happen. You might not. Lon 645. You may not want to. Shangbi, how do you pronounce that? Shang B29, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. I'm sorry. I don't know how that button got out there, but I love your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Come on back through anytime then. Appreciate the compliment. All right, moving on with the program. If Trump doesn't win, I saw that. Tim, are you afraid if Trump loses? Not necessarily afraid. I don't want to see the downfall of America in any way, fashion, or form. I am pro-American. My opinions may differ from some of you folks, but the idea that half of the country believes the election is stolen, or that some folks may be willing to take up arms and violence, maybe because they believe Trump is being mistreated or their votes were wrongfully taken. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see any of that. Keep in mind, folks, for some folks who are talking about civil war, civil unrest, nobody wins in the Civil War. There are no winners. The folks who think they won, the prize is you are alive. That's it. The prize is you are still alive. The environment you now will live in, probably akin to Mad Max. Everything's destroyed. There are plenty of nations on earth, including this one, that have had a civil war before. Look at how that nation is after the war and tell me you want to live in that environment. We'll no longer be a superpower. The U.S. dollar will no longer be the dominant dollar. I mean, all of our place of leadership on the world stage will be gone. Not to mention how many of us won't be around? And even the folks who consider themselves winners, you'll all know at least one person that died, maybe a family member, maybe your spouse, maybe your children. There's no winners in civil unrest. There's no winners in that. Looking in the comments, our military is too powerful now for a civil war. Well, understand that if there's civil unrest, the military will be divided as well. It will enter in. I mean, there's plenty of Trump and Kamala supporters in the military. So it will enter the military as well. You see what happened on January 6th, where some people are breaking into the Capitol building and others are being let in? You know what my humble opinion is on that before I move on with the program? And by the way, tap the screen. 70,000. Smash that like button on YouTube. Get your boy up to about 170. Appreciate that. My take on it is, as I just stated, civil unrest will actually be in the military. It was at the Capitol Police there that day. Now, the likes of Liz Cheney, Nancy Pelosi, and all of them don't want that to come out. But fact is, if you ask me, the reason why some protesters were let in the building while others were breaking in is because the Capitol Police had a divide as well. I do believe some of those Capitol Police officers believed that MAGA on that day were fighting the good fight and were sympathizers to MAGA. So they're not going to arrest them if they're not ordered to do so. They're letting them in. Some of them were, I do believe there are rumors that one of the Capitol Police officers even had a MAGA hat on. Now, my opinion is this. Anybody on video letting folks into a building that was closed and off limits that day should have had to be in front of Congress. They should have had to testify and explain why they did that. Man, likely they're going to say, look, I was scared or whatever. But you should have to say that. You should have to come before Congress because people are saying it wasn't an insurrection. See, they're letting them in. You should have to explain why you did that. And they did not do that. We know that law enforcement tends to lean right more than left because the right is less critical of law enforcement than the left is. The idea that all of those Capitol Police, none of them were supporting Trump, none of them are MAGA, none of them believe the election is stolen, I don't buy that. My guess is, as I stated, civil unrest will go into our defense agencies as well. It would happen in the military. It would happen at the Capitol building on January 6th. Some of them folks believed the cause. That's my opinion. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks there. Somebody said they were a minority. Maybe, but they were there. The majority of them maybe are not going to go against orders or side with the protesters, but there were some there that day. I do believe that. Sarah Nan Good afternoon, Sarah. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hey, good afternoon. So have you been watching the DNC?
I have a little bit. I tuned into like day 1 and a tiny bit of day 2.
Did you catch
I can't sit there.
Go ahead.
Can't sit there and watch it. I can't. I can't watch it.
What did you see that made you kind of want to tune it out?
Just everything that they're saying. Well, I know I watched Miss Obama. She was speaking about the IVF, and I know all of that was a lie because Trump literally said not too long ago that he wanted to make it easier to access IVF and everything else like that. So everything that they've been saying, how I just couldn't watch it anymore. I just couldn't. It makes me so angry.
So you don't now, because folks are saying that Trump wants a federal abortion ban and all this stuff, but Trump is saying that he believes in provisions for rape and incest and things like that. You believe that, right?
I'm pretty sure. I know that Trump, he stands kind of in the gray matter with abortion. I mean, he wants to put it back into the state's hands, which I agree with. I mean, there should be states where I guess it is allowed, and which I don't stand with abortion. That's just my opinion. But I mean, everyone has their own opinion.
Right.
But I do believe that it needs to go back into the state's hands, so everyone can vote and decide on what is best for their own state.
But then I have to ask you. But then I have to ask you if Trump and yourself and most MAGA agree with you that it should go to the states and not be in the hands of the federal government. Then if that's true, like what you pointed out, Trump's comments on IVF and what he doesn't believe in and what's being attributed to him is false. It doesn't matter. If he believes that the states should make the decision and he's given the states the ability to do so, it doesn't matter if he believes there should be provisions for rape, incest, or anything else. The states are going to decide, and if they decide a woman who's been violated should have no out, he's made it clear he's going to let them do it because it should be left up to the states.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what he's trying to, he's trying to backtrack and suggest that, look, I'm not for all these horrible policies, but he's also admitting I'm not going to intervene. If some state decides to do something horrible because I have now given them the right to do so, I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do understand because of that reason, folks are going to fault him because those states that are doing this sympathy-less legislation, where they don't have any sympathy for the woman at all, they would not have had that right if it wasn't for what Trump did and took credit for. You understand that? Okay. We lost a guest. We don't block, ban, or censor. She dropped out. She has a right to do that. Anyhow, going back to the box, your pro-life opinion should not infringe on my pro-choice opinion if and when I need it. A lot of folks agree with you, but some don't. This is similar to the gun debate. For folks on the right will often tell a liberal, if you don't want people to have guns, if you don't want a gun, don't buy one. If you don't want a gun, don't buy one. Well, it could apply to the abortion debate as well. If you don't want one, don't have one. So it's crazy how both sides have their stance on this. And there are so many similarities between the pro-choice, pro-life argument and the Second Amendment. The liberals have their issues with the Second Amendment because they believe limitations will save lives. The right believes the same thing with the pro-choice, pro-life stance. They believe the same thing. We're doing it because it ultimately saves lives. And both sides believe that you shouldn't do this because it infringes on my freedoms. The right believes taking away the Second Amendment infringes on their freedoms, places them at a disadvantage, certainly in cases where they need to defend themselves. And the left believes the same thing with the pro-life stance because it leaves them at a disadvantage as well, certainly if the life of the mother is in jeopardy. So a lot of similarity. The only difference is one is currently protected by the Constitution and the other is not. But taking out the fact that one is an actual amendment and the other is not, they have a lot in common. Ace Ventura, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Your thoughts on Tim's neurodivergent kid getting blasted on X? Some people have no shame. That came up earlier in the show. And Yeah, I don't like the personal attacks. I understand half of my audience is MAGA. MAGA likes the personal attack. They've been criticizing Trump from day one about the personal attacks. MAGA responded with "fuck your feelings," I could go for $2 gas and mean tweets. I think it's safe to assume that as long as Trump is winning, MAGA has no problem with the personal attacks. In fact, they favor it. I don't have any. There's no other way to look at it. In fact, I did a video in regards to the day that somebody tried to take Trump's life. It's on my YouTube page. I did a video, and because everybody was thinking, including yours truly, that Trump was going to come from an aspect of unity after almost losing his life, and I thought he was. Had guests come on the program and criticize the hell out of me for being wrong, and I had to concede the point. But I was on here saying the same thing, that I think that gave him an awakening. But even during that time, on the video, the moment he touches his ear right off his left shoulder is a woman proudly wearing a shirt that says "mean tweets." I think the Trump supporters like the personal attacks. And I think it but I think that the only reason why Trump is not finishing his second term, I believe, has a lot to do with that. I don't know why, but they like it. They like it a lot. Let me go back to the box. EK, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. EK, good to have you on.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. You kind of got a noisy background. Let's see if we can make it work. Have you been? Are you there? EK, are you there?
Any better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you been tuning into the DNC?
Yes, I have.
What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think it's a fair convention. I think 80 to 90% of the speeches have been focused on Trump as opposed to focused on Harris and what her policies are and what the future looks like. So that's kind of a bad look when you're placing all of your focus on your opponent's negatives as opposed to your positives. That's the only thing that I really don't like about it. It's a lot of style as opposed to substance is what I'm seeing, if you're being completely honest.
Right. Are you likely to consider voting for Kamala, or are you leaning more to the right?
No. I'm a right. I'm a Trumper.
Okay.
I've been a Trumper.
Now you're African American. Sounds like. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Okay. 61-year-old's been voting conservative since Ronald Reagan.
Wow. Good on you. So, how do you respond to folks who often suggest that blacks that vote for Trump are voting against their own best interests? Yeah. Thank you, alter ego.
Yeah, I don't think just because my color is the same color as them doesn't mean my interest is the same interest as theirs. So when people tell me that, I look at them like they're juvenile. How do they even know what my interests are?
Yeah. Well, you make a good point, because I'm often shaking off MAGA that says the same thing about Kamala Harris and Democratic voters, that they're stupid and all. And that's the same thing I often say is, you don't know why somebody is voting. There's legitimate reasons to vote for both candidates, but I get that on the right as well. You're an idiot. You're voting against your own best interests and all of that, to folks who vote Democrat. At the end of the day, we all vote for different reasons. So now, did you say you were a driver? Did I hear you say that?
I'm riding right now.
Okay, all right. You don't drive for a living.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I do sometimes, because I used to own a telecommunications business in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I sold it at a very good profit about 12 years ago, and now I have a logistics business now. I have a trucking business that I own. My wife said, get out the house and go do something else instead of lounging around the house.
Were you doing much better under the Trump years than Biden?
Absolutely. Yes. Just the fuel alone. And if you're running a trucking company and logistics, fuel is your biggest expense. So that the interest rates were lower, inflation was lower. If you wanted to buy a house under Trump, the mortgage rates were at about 3% as opposed to 7% now. It was just, I think anybody being completely honest, and you can say, well, it wasn't Trump who did it and it's not Biden's fault. That may or may not be true, but the person in charge is the one who gets the credit or the blame. So that's just the way it is.
Now, let me ask you, as someone who I assume has supported Trump all 3 times he's ran at the national ticket. How do you personally feel about the fact that he often attacks people and gets in all of these back and forths with everybody from celebrities to generals to the Pope? How do you personally view that?
I hate it. I wish he didn't do it. Again, it's part of his personality. I did a post saying that it's not useful and it's not helpful, particularly when you already have crazy critics that will criticize you the minute you came down that escalator. Why give them fuel for it? Yeah. Focus on your policies, focus on what you're doing to try to make America great again. But again, I don't really care what a person says. I don't focus on what they say. I focus on actions, what they do. People can tell me, call me, whatever they want to call me. If I'm doing business with them and they paying me and my family a bunch of money, they can call me whatever they want as long as them checks is clearing.
So, but
I don't focus on talk.
So if someone is, just taking your verbiage there, if someone is doing something for you that is financially beneficial to you, you're okay with them criticizing your wife and your family members and all of that?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing.
What do you mean? How?
Well,
he criticizes people who. Let me tell you what he does. If somebody criticizes me, and I clap back at them, you can't get back mad at me. They called him a Zazi. They called him a fascist. They called him a racist. They called him all that. Remember when he first started? And you'll remember this. He sat down with Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. I think the first week that he was elected, trying to work stuff out. He thought he had something going on. They came out of that meeting calling him everything but the child of God. That was naive. He was naive to think that they were going to be supporting him.
Yeah, I would agree with you. He was very naive. However, a lot of folks will say they never gave Trump a chance from day one, but they ignore the fact that there is a day zero. On day one, Trump had already spent years saying Barack Obama was born in another country. So the idea that on day one he hadn't done anything wrong, why were they criticizing him? How do you feel about him saying Obama was born in Kenya?
Well, where did that initially start?
Doesn't matter. Nobody made him say it.
It does matter.
How?
It started with Hillary Clinton.
Okay, so because something starts somewhere else, you should just be able to do it with no consequence?
No, he's suffering all the consequences.
Right.
Now. Like I said, if it were me, I wouldn't have done it. I would have been a lot more sophisticated and know, like again with the press. Did he think that the press has been negative towards Republicans going all the way back to Nixon since Walter Cronkite was against the Vietnam War? They have never supported Republicans. They've called every Republican that's run for president a racist.
Hang on. EK, I don't think you answered that first question. How do you respond to Trump for years saying Obama was born in Kenya?
I did answer it. I said I didn't like it, and I wish he hadn't done it.
All right. So you do understand him taking flack on day one. A lot of folks, particularly in the African-American community, had a beef with him for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Just want to make sure, because go ahead.
Again, it's politics. And politics, if you get in your feelings with politics, as you well know, it's a combat sport.
Okay.
It's a dirty sport. It's a blood sport.
Yeah, but I don't think you hear people
they need to do to win.
Questioning people's origin of birth. That's a dirty sport?
Yeah, but again, you know what? Obama used that to his advantage because he refused to release the birth certificate because he knew he was winning as long as Trump fell into that trap and kept pushing that birtherism BS.
Yeah, but let me say this.
It is what it is.
And by the way, that Charles, thank you for the graphic. Thank you for the hat and mustache. That Charles, appreciate the support. Thank you. I don't recall, EK. I don't recall ever seeing.
Hold on, Mr. Hanson. I want to give you a compliment. Let me give you a compliment.
Sure.
You run a wonderful live.
Thank you.
You are straight down the middle.
Everybody don't agree with that, but keep going.
I do.
Thank you.
I think I have an idea which way you lean, but I wouldn't bet anything on which way you're going to vote, and that's really a positive for you.
Thank you. It ain't easy, because I get called a sellout and Uncle Tom all the damn time. But I was about to ask you a question. You threw me off with that compliment. So, at the end of the day, you don't think Kamala Harris has what's right for this country at all? EK, I'm gonna have to drop you. You got your signal.
I go in and out.
Yeah,
Drop.
yeah. I'm gonna have to drop you.
You go ahead and drop me.
Yeah, come on back
go ahead
anytime.
and drop.
All right. Good conversation. I like the challenge. I like the back and forth. Guys, you know I'm not going to block Ben or Sid, so you don't have to agree with a damn thing coming from the host. You can certainly challenge me in any way you want. And I enjoyed that call. EK, good call. Come on back to the program anytime. Looking in the comments, Dow was at 4712. Trump never even came close. You know, the economic analysts have suggested many times that the economy is doing a lot better than we're being told, particularly on the right. However, I'm just going to say it like this. Perception is reality, period. Doesn't matter how good some financial economic analysis tell you, analysts, if I can get the word right. Doesn't matter how good they tell you the economy's doing. If you can't afford groceries, you can't afford your daily survival, you're not going to agree with them. But I understand your point about the Dow. Even Charles Payne on Fox News, I think he also has a program on Fox Business. He sometimes fills in for Neil Cavuto as well. They've all said the economy is doing better because Trump has been suggesting the entire time Biden was in office, we were going to have a recession, and then even compared and brought up the Great Depression. That never happened. And the financial analysts will tell you it never happened. But like I said, perception is reality. If you're having trouble financially, you don't give a damn what they're saying. You don't give a damn about the stock market or the Dow, as my viewers point out. It's up to how you're doing. Just like Trump often brags about how great the economy was during his time. It's a hell of a lot of people, particularly the African-American community, like, I wasn't doing that damn good. Perception is reality. Going back to the box, tap the screen. We might be to get up to 100,000. A lot of lazy thumbs on the program today. Participation isn't quite where I want it is, but I'm happy. Same on YouTube. Feel free to get the likes up to about 200. Appreciate you folks tapping the screen. President can't control pricing. That's communism, says Jeff K. Yeah, I don't totally agree that if Trump gets elected, things are going to come down in price. My personal opinion is if Trump gets elected and things become more affordable, he'll take credit for it. If it doesn't, he'll start blaming taxes in liberal states and things like that. That's kind of how Trump ran his time when he was in office. And I used to bring that up. Is that he took credit for the good and blamed the bad on other people. Like Dr. Fauci, for instance. How many things bad did Trump blame on Dr. Fauci? Dr. Fauci doesn't pass any laws. He's not a legislator. Dude is a virologist that gives advice. That is the scope of what Dr. Fauci does. He deals with viruses and he gives advice. Yet Trump is taking the advice, implementing laws along with a lot of governors, and they're blaming the advice. You don't have to take his advice. By the way, Trump could have reappointed him to the HIV task force or something and got somebody else in there. Go give it to Ben Carlson or somebody. And somehow, nobody really on the MAGA side of the aisle blamed Trump for continuing to let Dr. Fauci sit there the whole time. He could have easily got rid of him. You didn't have to keep taking advice from somebody. Your entire rally, everybody's yelling, fire Dr. Fauci. And then you go back there the next day and you're on TV with him again. How MAGA never held him accountable for that, I don't know. Going back to the box, Fauci is just an advisor. That's all he is. That Charles, good afternoon. Welcome to the pro. Bob Barker. That Charles. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for the support, by the way.
No problem. I want to tell you how you almost convinced me to switch my vote.
Oh,
but first,
from to?
But first,
from
no, but
to?
First, I'm gonna crack a little joke at you because the last caller you had, excellent caller, you tell him, "Are you African American? You sound African American."
Right.
Is that like a black job?
There is no such thing as a damn black job.
I grew up in New Orleans, so I know the lingo, I know the talk. Brother, you sound black. That sounds like a black job to me.
I hear you, but I disagree. I think that there are accents, dialects, just like you can tell when somebody's from Boston, you can tell from somebody from You can tell when somebody's from down south. But black jobs, my humble opinion on black jobs is that Trump tends to believe that blacks operate in a lower economic environment than, say, whites, because he then upgraded it and said black and Hispanic jobs. He never stated that Hispanics or that immigrants are competing for white jobs. It was always blacks, then Hispanics. So it sounds like he believes that whites have a hierarchy than blacks.
He sounded like Isaiah Thomas a little bit. And then when he said Illinois, I was like, damn, okay.
All right, fair. With the S.
But back to Trump. To Trump.
All right.
I wish he would just go retire. I've been following him since the 80s. And if he wins, they're not going to help him. They're not going to work with him. It's just going to be battle after battle after battle. And I'm just tired of it. And our country is going further and further apart. If she wins, I have a good job. And I'm financially okay if she wins, whatever. And honestly, I wanted to talk to you before about living in Australia because I was going to move there. But I'm going to move to France anyway.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm kind of just tired of it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm one of the guys that told my mother about Barack Obama. Now, my mother is like 76.
Okay.
I'm around your age. And she voted Jesse Jackson, this and that. I'm on the Democrat forever. Life, she's at that age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I convinced my sister to do what's best for you. You don't have to vote a certain way because somebody told you. Just do what's good for you. But I'm leaving, and why are you?
If I want you to sum up, give me your best explanation. Why are you leaving America?
I'm in Texas right now, and one of the things is where I'm going in France. The temperatures is better.
Okay. The weather.
I hate the heat, and I got a friend over there. So
that's it. Just the weather and a friend.
Yeah, girlfriend.
Okay, no politics though.
No politics.
Okay, all right. I just wondered.
I'm just tired of it though. I see us going further and further apart, and I wish we would come together. And I don't know who's going to bring us together.
Well, yeah, I think what we need to do, you folks say make America great again. We need to make politics boring again. Once it gets to be boring, because the fighting is where we're dividing. All of the fighting is what's causing the division.
You remember when we were growing up, we didn't even see this mess in school, on TV.
No.
And if they found out somebody had a girlfriend on the side, we were like, ooh, what? They throwing trash out there. Now it's gotten so bad, it's just a mess, Yeah. Both sides do it.
Yeah. So if you had to guess just with those two candidates, Trump versus Kamala, where could we get at least even a shrivel of unity from? Who would be more likely to give us some unity?
Well, seeing how fast she went from 1% to damn near the president, that's a lot of unity right there.
Wow.
Yeah. They unified to get her in there. Now, they did a coup on Joe, but it is what it is.
Wait, why do you say they did a coup on Joe Biden?
Because that's what happens when nobody gets to choose who they want in there.
Nobody ran against him, Charles. Nobody ran against him.
Some of them say we don't even choose the president no matter what. You can go way back to those theorists.
Yeah, but did you notice that? Because folks are saying what you're saying. They did a coup. They never gave anybody a chance. Have you noticed that not one Democrat has come forward and said, I wanted to run and they didn't give me a chance? Nobody's complaining.
That Kennedy guy's complaining about him.
Kennedy
let him do the debates.
Well, Trump didn't debate anybody. Apparently, you don't have to debate.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So where's the coup?
Because there was a coup. But at least I would have liked to pick somebody, maybe I like somebody else.
Nobody's running. That's what I'm telling you. You want them to make Kamala run against a bunch of phantom candidates? Nobody was running.
Did they get a chance to run?
Even if they wanted to run, and it was the coup like you're saying, and they were prevented from running, nobody's stopping them from speaking out. There were 4 people who wanted to run against President Trump in 2020, and they prevented it from happening. Them 4 people spoke out. Where are the Democrats speaking out?
Wow, they see the polls. They see it's going great for them. They don't want to talk about that.
The polls were great for Trump, and they spoke out.
They were.
I don't get
How's this guy? I don't even know what MAGA mean. That group MAGA. I'm a conservative, yeah, but I ain't MAGA, and I'm not gonna. If I go to January 6th, what do they call that? An insurrection? I'm in Texas, bro. We taking guns. You know what I'm saying? Poo-poo, pow, whatever. Sorry, I stream.
So what happened on January 6th in your opinion?
I think you had some knuckleheads got out of line. I don't think the whole crowd was trying to get out of line.
What was the purpose of them going there on January 6th?
The knuckleheads, just to be knuckleheads. The other ones, I don't know.
Well, wait a minute. Trump was there that day
what did
too.
They think they were going to accomplish?
Yeah, but Trump was there that day too. Why was Trump in DC on January 6th? What was the purpose of him being there, talking to that crowd?
To bitch about it.
Bitch about what?
The election. He didn't like the results.
Okay. Do you believe he was correct in what he was bitching about?
I can't prove it, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. But do you believe it?
What I don't believe is Barack Obama, everybody was waiting for a black president, so he had more votes than anybody. He should have set the record. And you have this racist guy come along and he breaks the record with votes. It's fishy, but I can only smell it. I can't put the fish on the pan.
Who was the racist guy?
Biden, the one that don't want his children going to school down there in the jungle. And oh, come on, man.
So you see the guy who may end up giving us our first black female president. Do you believe Kamala Harris is black?
I'm from New Orleans, so an ounce of blood, you black.
Okay.
In this country, you black.
So you believe the racist guy is likely to give us our first black female president? You think he's racist?
I also believe she's from India, and India is neutral, and India has a lot of resources that we need. So let's be friendly to the India people, and let's get them on the United States side instead of the Russia side.
You know she was born in America, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why are you saying India?
Because that's where her roots come from.
Okay, so you see Trump as German?
Yeah. He ain't talked about, he hadn't said I'm a German. I'm not taking care of African Americans. He never said nothing like that.
Okay. I don't know if I'm following you. Okay, so you see, what about the fact that Biden also appointed it? You got a really loud background, man.
Oh, that's me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making missiles.
I believe it. Sound like you're testing the missiles.
We do. We test them here too.
Oh, shit. You're in Texas, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was asking you about Australia, because we got a plant over there.
Oh.
And in Moala, up by near Queensland.
That's where I live.
Built a plant over there.
I lived in
thinking
Queensland.
About moving over there.
Yeah.
Because I'm 55, and my goal is to retire at 59 was my goal. I may have to wait till 60, but I'm not sure.
Well, I will tell you this, not to get too far off topic, but if you're leaving Texas and one of your primary complaints is the weather, you don't want to move to Queensland. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so.
But that was before the France thing. It's going to be France.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I got to move it on. You got a little bit of a loud background, but appreciate you as well. Come on back anytime. All right?
All right.
Yet another African-American that is supported. Now, he said he's a Republican. He's not MAGA. I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I'm not for certain. I wanted to talk to him further, and he's always invited back, but his stance on January 6th and some of that stuff, he said he wasn't MAGA, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Somebody said he's white. Oh, is he? No, that was a black man. Really? Okay, maybe my ears have befailed me. Biden saying black women stock grocery stores. Ed G, when is that? Black women stock grocery store. Are you trying to say that Biden was talking in the form of black jobs? Or you compare Biden's black women stock groceries? Well, I guess we'll say one thing good for the Democratic Party. Biden is gone. Biden is no more. Kamala is killing the polls, says warning. Look, right now the DNC is coming to its conclusion, so it shouldn't be of any surprise that Kamala Harris is doing well in the polls. Trump got a huge bump in the polls as well, right after the RNC. So we'll see in about a week after it dies down. Obviously, there's a debate on September 10th. That will make a difference as well. We'll see all of that stuff. I mean, Trump, as somebody pointed out, he has a sentence date coming up in regards to the Alvin Bragg case in New York. All of that's going to affect things as well. So we'll see, but my humble opinion, and by the way, tap the screen, give me up to 110. We almost at 100 with 2 N's. Give me up to 110. I appreciate you folks tapping the screen, get the likes up. Same on YouTube, smash that like button. Before I go back to the next caller, my humble opinion is that her numbers in the polls will stay up. Now, if Trump gets in there and trounces her in a debate or something like that, that might help. If she says something incredibly stupid to the media during one of these press conferences that she seems to be avoiding, alter ego. Thank you for the lightning gloves. I always appreciate the support. Thank you, alter ego. Appreciate that. Unless she really does something crazy, my guess is she's going to continue staying up in the polls. I just believe that. I could be wrong, and we'll certainly be talking about it the entire 75 days we have remaining or so. But unless she does something wild, I think she's going to continue riding that. Because the things that the right are telling Trump to stop doing that are hurting his campaign, he's not going to stop doing it. Which is the insults, the personal attacks, calling her stupid, talking about her race and things like that. He's not going to stop doing that. It worked for him very well in 2016. It worked for him very well. Even to some degree in 2020, it was working for him. He lost in 2020, but it was working for him. So, you know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I know I get that way sometimes. He's older than I am. He is resorting back to what works. At the end of the day, a lot of folks will tell you all the time, and I believe there's some accuracy to it. Trump is not a politician first. He is an entertainer. He's an entertainer first, and he's running as a politician. And he likes ginning up the crowd. Politics on its face is boring. Insults, name calling, that's just more exciting. I've been to a couple Trump rallies. The laughter, the excitement that comes from name calling, nervous Nancy, crazy Bernie, low energy Jeb, sleepy Joe Biden, that stuff does a hell of a lot more to gin up a crowd than simply talking about the economy and the border. And when the crowd starts to go south, he goes back to what works. What does he often say at the rallies? Do you mind if I go off script? Do you mind if I go off teleprompter? Do you mind if I go personal? And the crowd goes apeshit. They like that stuff. So I don't think he's going to give it up because it is working with him as far as the people that are in front of him. But that's preaching to the choir. That's preaching to the choir. The independents, and yeah, they don't like it. But they're not at his rallies. So the man works the crowd. The man is really good at working the crowd. Looking in the comments, Trump is no entertainer, but a proven successful businessman, also a great politician. He is an entertainer. The whole reason that The Apprentice done so damn well is because he made the show. He is an entertainer. What do you mean he's not an entertainer? Popcorn Pajamas. It's a hell of a name. Appreciate the support. Thank you, Popcorn Pajamas. Welcome to the program. Am I getting it wrong? Trump is not an entertainer. Huh? Popcorn.
You're right.
I'm getting it right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. So,
thank you.
You've heard my last two guests are suggesting that Kamala is not the one. She's not having interviews. We don't know what policy she stands for. What say you?
Okay, first I want to say I watch you all the time. I love your show.
Thank you.
Let me say that. I do. I love your show.
Appreciate that.
I'm a black woman. As you can tell, I'm on the thing. I'm from the South, so I got a little country twang to me, so you're going to hear that. And I'm a MAGA. I'm a Trump supporter.
I'm having a good day today. All right, keep going.
Yeah. I'm MAGA. I'm a Trump supporter. There's absolutely nothing about Kamala Harris I would vote for. Absolutely nothing at all. There's a couple of things that I heard that I wanted to to kind of touch upon. I heard you said that, people was upset with Trump because he said something about Obama's birth certificate. Who is Obama? Why can't anybody talk about him? He's not a god. He's not a king. Why can't people say anything about Obama? And for some reason, and no disrespect to those who voted for Obama because I didn't. They act like Obama is, he's untouchable. You can't say anything about King Obama. You can't say anything about Obama. Everybody's going to get mad. Obama is not a god. Obama is just like anybody else. He can be talked about as well. And I wanted to also say, because somebody put in the comments, y'all was talking about the black jobs. I think people are running on that black job stuff, but what people are failing to
What are they? Wait, hold on. Before you explain, what is a black job? Because Trump has mentioned that more than once.
Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you. A black job is any job that a black person has, regardless of what it's the presidency or whatever. You're a black person, you got a job. In my opinion, that's a black job. But let me say this. People are getting upset about him saying something about a black job. But what they're leaving out, and they continue to leave out, is that he was asked that question. He didn't just come up with that.
Wait, hold on. What question was he asked that black jobs, what was he asked that was the appropriate answer? Explain that to me.
Okay, what he was asked when he was at that debate, and actually him and Joe Biden was both asked this question. He was asked, what do you think is going to happen to the black community about the illegal immigrants coming into the black community? He said, I think they're going to take black jobs and Latino jobs. That's how that
He didn't say Latino that night. No, he did not say anything about Latino that night.
Yes, he did. Go back and look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he did. Go back and look at it. He said they're going to take black jobs and Latino jobs. That's what he said. He did. That's what he said. And he's brought that up because that was the question that was asked. He didn't just come out with that on his own.
Yeah, you and I I'm not in my home studio where I can bring it up, but
when you get a chance,
let me just say right off the bat, I heard him later reference blacks and Hispanic jobs, but the night when he said black jobs, he didn't say nothing about Hispanics that night. So I think you're getting that wrong.
When you get a chance, please look at it because he did.
Okay.
He did say it. I think people was he that's exactly what he said. He said black and Latino job, but people were so focused on him saying black that that's all they heard.
Okay.
And let me say this right here, because I am a Trump supporter, but I will be the first one to tell you, I don't agree with everything Trump do. To me, I don't agree with everything Trump do.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with everything Trump say, and personally, I think sometimes he need to stay off Twitter. It's a lot of things I be like, Trump, please, would you get somewhere and sit down? Because, I don't agree with him. But when it comes to the country, I think he's a better person to run the country. I'm not going to vote for Kamala. I don't think Kamala is a good, I just don't. Now, somebody said, because y'all was talking about the racist person, Joe Biden did make the comment about the black lady stocking the shelves. What he said was, and I'm not laughing at it, so I'm not laughing. He said, well, he was talking about C19, doing C19. He said, well, I ain't have no problem going to my grocery store because some old black lady kept the shelves stocked in my store. That's what he said.
Oh, well, that ain't racist. Yeah. I mean, if he know the woman, let me interrupt you because you mentioned something earlier I wanted to go back to. You said, why can't anybody say anything about Obama? He's not God, which is true. However, one of the primary complaints coming from Trump is that they're doing all of this stuff because they don't want him to become president again. So they're trying to disqualify his campaign. That is why people are complaining about what he did to Obama. It ain't that you can't say something about your adversary. He was trying to disqualify Trump's validity by saying he can't even be president because he is not an American. Therefore, he is disqualified. He was saying something that is patently false.
Okay, but he's not the only person that said
that. Doesn't matter. Okay, that's fine. But they're talking about him. I mean, nobody made him join other people and say that. He did it on his own.
Okay, so because he said that, then what? He shouldn't run for president? I mean, everybody should just be upset with him because he said that?
No, I will say, Will, thank you for that subscription. Appreciate that. No, he should run for president if he feels he's got the right plan for America. What I'm saying is, you have no right to complain about people attacking you or trying to disqualify you from being president when you did it to the last guy. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let me, and I agree with you. I'm just saying, I agree with you on that. But let me say this right here, because people are going to say things about people all the time. We know that. People, whether you like it or not, People gonna say things like I'm reading your comments. People in your comments upset with me because I'm a Trump supporter and calling me names.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
No, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't care because none of them put food on my table, so I don't care. But the thing of it is, people right now, in my opinion, people are going off emotions. It's all about emotions. It's not about facts. It's not about politics. It's about emotions.
Bro, you can't complain about people going off emotions when one of your primary slogans is fuck your feelings. Aren't you trying to trigger people's emotions by doing that?
Let me tell you something. People like to say, well, Trump attacking this person, Trump attacking that person, but Trump gets attacked also.
Yeah, but nobody. You ever heard of letting something roll off your back, having thick skin, not being a snowflake? You don't have to respond to every fight you're invited to.
A snowflake?
Yeah.
How many times would you just sit back and allow people just allow you and attack you, and you just sit back and don't say anything? You don't defend yourself at all. You just sit back and say, let me go right here. And like I said, I love your show. I absolutely do. Even if I don't agree with you on everything.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
What I like about you is you try to be neutral.
Thank
I love
you.
that.
Appreciate it.
Let me say this right here. They come out here and they lie about Project 2025. They love to lie about him in Project 2025, which he have absolutely nothing to do. Even, it's bad when CNN have to fact check people about Project 2025, because we know CNN don't like Trump at all. But when CNN had to come out and fact check people about Project 2025 and say, hey, you're lying, Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025, it's bad. They lied on him about Project 2025. This is not the only lie they told him. They lied on him saying, what Trump said, if you don't get into office, it's going to be a blood. And he was talking about...
But hold on. I understand that some of the things said about Trump were not always true, but you do understand he said that both Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden, and now Kamala Harris was going to get us involved in World War III. They were all going to take us into a Great Depression. Obama was going to turn America into socialist Greece because Greece had the failed economy. Now it's always Venezuela. This is what I keep telling you. Everything you're bringing up that people wrongfully do to him, he's done it to someone else.
No, I'm not saying, listen, what I'm saying is this. If somebody's talking about him, I think he should speak back about them. And the same thing, okay, you talking about, he said that we're going to go into World War III. But let's be fair.
Every liberal is going to take us into World War III. Every one of them?
Let me say this right here. Let's not act like since Biden got in office that wars haven't broke out everywhere.
World War III?
We on the verge of it. We on the verge of it. What's gonna be coming next? Well, let's not act, cause see hey, how you doing? What's getting me is, like I said, I can admit I don't agree with everything Trump do. Okay. There's some, like I said, there's some things that Trump did. Like, I'm gonna go back to this. The vax. I didn't take the vax. I thought, and I was one of the main ones saying, I wish he'd shut up talking about it. Nobody's gonna take it. Miss me with that. I was one of those people saying that. I know a lot of people did take it. That's their right. Take what you want to take. I'm one that didn't. I'm not taking no experimental drug. That's just me. Okay.
Let me interrupt you. I'll let you continue, but I just thought this comment is funny because generally this comment is aimed at African American females that lean left, but Pipe JP1 in the comments says she's so angry she can't even breathe. All of my black female viewers always
okay, well, it don't matter because they don't know me. They don't know me to know how I talk, how I speak, or anything. Because this is how I speak. If I was angry,
listen. I get your point. We won't go too deep in it, but let me just say this though, in regards to the attacks of Trump or Trump attacking other folks. You do understand, as a president of a country with 350 million people, the president is always going to get attacked. I don't care if it's the Pope. If the president decides to respond to everybody attacking him, you're going to have exactly what you had under Trump. He is going to always be in a fight. You got to let some of that stuff roll off your back. You're never going to please the whole damn country. So your response is, well, he should be able to attack people who attack him back.
I told you from the beginning that I don't agree with everything Trump do or say. I told you that from the beginning.
Okay.
I told you from the beginning. I say I don't agree with everything Trump do or say. definitely don't agree with all those tweets because he get on my nerve with all those tweets and stuff. I don't agree with all that. But sometimes, you know, when people talking about you, you're gonna say things. Yeah. Should he respond every time? Should he respond every time? Absolutely not.
Well,
no, he should respond every time. But as a human, I don't know anybody that's gonna sit back and just constantly let people say this about or lie about him or whatever.
How do you not? Wait, you said as a human, you don't know. You didn't see George W. Bush doing this stuff. What do you mean you haven't seen anybody doing it? Name the people that George W. Bush got in the fight with.
That's going to allow that to happen, just be talked about and attacked all the time, and you just sit back and do nothing. I don't know what George W. Bush did.
Because you don't know, because he even wrote in his own memoir after he left office, the book is titled Decision Points, that he was in tears when Kanye West, after Hurricane Katrina, said George W. Bush is a racist, said he doesn't like black people. He didn't respond back to that. He could have attacked Kanye West like Trump would have done. He didn't do it. The reason why you can't think of anybody, because George W. Bush didn't do that.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Everybody's different.
Right.
We're all different. We're all different. We all handle things differently.
But you notice,
I can't expect for this person, I can't expect for, like, the way you handling things now, the way you run everything, the way you run, I can't expect somebody else to run it like that just because you run it like that. True. Everybody is different. Everybody handle things different.
I get your point, but I'm just simply saying, if you notice, the other presidents we've had throughout history are not, Trump did something totally different, because you're saying that, how many people are going to just stand back and let somebody attack them?
Are you saying that Joe Biden don't do it? And that's what you're saying?
No, Joe Biden attacks MAGA. Pretty much it. He don't go at the world leaders and the Pope and all these other people. He said something about MAGA. I agree with that. Joe Biden has got in the mud.
Do he attack, period? Because one thing I can say about Trump is I can say about Biden. Trump attacks other politicians and, like you said, whatever. He has never attacked you as a Democratic voter. Biden has attacked everybody who voted for Trump.
Are you kidding me? He said Trump said if you don't vote for him, you hate Israel. He said if you're Jewish and you don't vote for him, it's just like if you don't vote for me and you ain't black. Trump said the same thing about Jewish people.
Wait a minute. Listen to what I said. You're not listening to what I said. What I said was Trump has never came out and said the Biden supporters are racist, fascist, whatever. However, Biden has said that about Trump supporters. Now tell me, when did Trump make that comment? Biden has never said that about Trump supporters.
Trump has never said that Democrats are...
He has never attacked you as a Biden supporter. He has never come out and said, if you vote for Biden, you are a racist, fascist, this. But however, Biden has said that about people who vote for Trump.
Yeah, he definitely has said that a lot of times, Popcorn. A lot.
Yeah,
he said that.
He has said that a lot of times.
Okay. All right, I got to move it on.
But I love you. Listen, I love your show. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to tap the screen. We can always agree to disagree, and that's what it's about.
And my door is always open to you. I appreciate you coming through. You took the questions. Come on back anytime. All right, moving on with the program, folks. That's what when we say we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q now, we mean it. It's all about free speech here. Me and my last caller, we probably don't agree on a damn thing other than we're both black. That's it. But she is entitled to the right to speak. We always will observe free speech here. By the way, same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Appreciate the hat, mustache, top dog. Yeah! Thank you for the support. Crystal Lopez, thank you for that very kind super chat. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 45% of black workers in the United States are employed in lower paying frontline service industries such as healthcare, retail, and food service. Black jobs is what this individual is saying. So that, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that's 45%. So what about the other 55%? Here's what I think why the term black jobs, and I'll get to your super chat there, Edgy, in a minute. The term black jobs was an insult to a large portion of the black community, because even according to your statistic, 45%. So what are the other 55% of blacks doing? They're not in those jobs. So, and not to mention, I'm assuming that if you did the same thing on whites, Hispanics, or Asians, some of them are working those jobs too. So why single out blacks? Why single out blacks? There's plenty of white folks that clean beds at hotels and work on farms and do all those low. I mean, there's a lot of portions in America that don't feature black people at all. It's a lot of places in America where whole towns, whole counties, where there may only be one black person. So clearly blacks are not the only ones doing those jobs. All right, I'll leave it at that. All right, continuing on, Ed G. If Trump says he likes his white Ferrari more than his black Lamborghini, they will say clearly shows he is racist. That's extreme, Ed G. However, I won't totally disagree with you. There are people that find race in everything. Not going to disagree with you. However, the same thing applies to socialism. I bring it up all the time. If you're on the right and you debate with a liberal, eventually somebody's going to call you a racist, because the left often throw around the word racist willy-nilly, and to some degree they dilute the word. Well, the right does the same thing with socialists. Just like you pointed out, if he says something black about a car, well, the same thing. You talk about doing anything for someone, and the right is going to call you a socialist. The same thing, the same type of mentality. The right calls every damn thing imaginable socialism, period. Somebody gets shot and you go to the hospital and you decide to forgive them for a medical bill they can't afford. Well, that's socialism. The right does the same thing, but I don't disagree with your commentary. Thank you for the support. This is just whataboutism. It is. It really is 9 lives 210. It is. But fact is, if you criticize me for doing something, and I have a prime example of you doing the same damn thing, we're likely going to engage in whataboutism. What am I supposed to do? Just let that slide? You're talking about how I'm dressed today and you had the same damn shirt on last week. I'm not supposed to bring that up? What do you think is going to happen? Tap the screen, get the likes up to 130. 30. THURDY. Get the likes up to about 130,000. I appreciate that. Same thing on YouTube. Having a Biden moment here. Everything on YouTube. Smash that like button. Let's see if we can make 250, or should I say 50,000, or 250. Smash that like button. Why didn't Pence back Trump? LOL, a majority of his former cabinet do not. Yeah, Trump is probably the first president in history to have so many members of his own cabinet not endorse him. So many members of his own cabinet not endorsing him. If there's one thing you can say about Trump, and I think that MAGA, my beloved MAGA side of the aisle, will overwhelmingly agree with me on this as well. He is horrible at human resources. Trump would make the worst HR personnel any company could employ. He is awful at he employs a lot of people who later do not like him or he has to fire. He is awful at that. And I do believe MAGA believes that as well. I mean, like, as you're pointing out, his entire cabinet does not support him for president. Going back down to ineligible for rehire. KT says Trump is ineligible for rehire. Let me go back to the box. I can't, what does that say? World War II or that W? Is that, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. What is the name there?
Ill will.
Ill will. Okay. So I saw you holding on. I appreciate that. I saw you heard my last two guests. The floor is yours.
Illegal immigrants are coming over the border and they're taking black jobs.
I didn't. Yeah, normally when I'm in my little makeshift home studio, when somebody says something and I'm in disagreement with them, I can generally go on YouTube and pull it up. But I felt confident that what you're saying is true, that when he stated black jobs, it did not go down like she said. Most of the folks in the audience were saying the same thing. I'm like, no, because when he first mentioned it, he didn't say anything about Hispanic jobs, as she pointed out, because otherwise the Hispanic community would have jumped in too. And they didn't say nothing about it. So I thought she was kind of citing that wrong.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she misremembered it. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I just see Trump just he kind of takes whatever he can take, the fearmonger, and he kind of just places it in front of you. And, if you're upset, then, he's doing his job.
Wow. So you think Trump's sole purpose is to scare the shit out of people?
Yeah. What's the thing that's going to move you? Fear.
Happiness? Joy?
Hey, I could see that, but I don't know. I think that fear is a fear, and anger is a big mover of people. If people get upset, like movements have been started by anger and fear.
True, that is true.
Not a lot of movements have been started by happiness and joy.
Wow, that's crazy. So, if that's the case, then is it safe to say that Kamala Harris is likely to lose?
I won't say that. I won't say that. I do think a lot of people are kind of tired of the way that maybe politics or how things are kind of going in our society. It's just, there's a lot of division. And I think that when there is a lot of division, people do want to hear something different. And hearing something like joy, hearing something about happiness is a refresher.
So do you feel confident that Kamala Harris is ready for this gig? You think she can, because some folks are saying that she's in over her head. Some folks even point to her gender, suggesting that a woman may not have the temperament for this. Do you feel that she's ready on day one?
I think she's ready on day one. I've seen some of her Senate hearings. I've seen, she has a track record. I mean, you can't ask for anybody better than somebody that was a public servant since the early 90s, Wow. That started as a prosecutor, moved on to a DA, moved on to AG, moved on to Senate. Like, that's like, if you want to talk about experience, that's like perfect for experience. I mean, if you want to, if you want to go after her record, you can go after her record. If you want to go about how she speaks or how she talks, you can go after that. But there's not much substantive there. You can look at her sit-in hearings. You can look at the bill she's put forward. You can look at what she's implemented as AG and DA. And then you judge her off that. And if I'm judging off that, I think I see a long career in politics that would be, a stable person.
Any idea why this person with a long career ahead of them that's going to be a stable politician, why they not doing interviews?
Hey, I'm asking the same question. I think she should be getting out as much as possible. Personally, and because I try to call out hypocrisy on both sides, I think that they're trying to, her campaign is most likely trying to control the narrative. If she doesn't say anything, you can't judge her on it, right?
But how the hell are you gonna vote for somebody who ain't told you what they stand for, or who has not told you what they stand for?
Very good question. How are you gonna do that? So I think that it's a narrative thing. I think they kind of want to control the narrative of joy, of excitement. They're all riding off the high of the DNC. Maybe she'll do some, interviews then.
So are they voting for, not knowing what she stands for, because she hasn't taken any interviews? Are people excited to vote Trump out, or are they really voting for her at all? You're voting for somebody you know what they stand for. So are you really voting for Kamala, or are you just doing it to get rid of Trump?
I think everybody has different reasons of why they may vote Kamala. I think a lot of the people that are now on board with Kamala after they weren't on board with Biden, they're just happy to see somebody that's younger, more energetic, and that's in there that can actually do the job, and you're not scared about 4 years from now, like whether they'll actually be unalive.
You don't think Trump's going to make it 4 years?
I think Trump's going to make it 4 years. I was talking about Biden.
Oh, okay.
I think when you're looking at Biden was already in his 80s, so it was really rocky on whether he would actually make it 4 more years. I mean, I know it's a terrible thing to say, but I think some people are happy about that. I think some people are just going to ride with the Democratic Party either way.
All right. So, what was so bad about Trump? You had him in office for 4 years. I mean, some folks are saying the economy was way better than it is now.
I think Trump just had no idea what he was doing. We have reports like, once maybe it's a fluke, but we have reports from people that have worked with him that just say like he wasn't. It wasn't like he wasn't putting up his A game. Like he didn't have a game. Like he you had to reduce him to these 1-page pressers. If you wanted to produce information, you had to do it like 1 or 2 pages. They had to use really like small adjectives like, "Oh, we're gonna do this the best," or "This is gonna be amazing"? Like, how do we?
Where did you hear this? Where'd you hear this from?
So I think whoever was advising him from from Homeland Security, I forgot the guy's name. There's a video on here that you can see, but there's a guy that was advising him from Homeland Security that just said, like, you'd have to literally give him, and I mean, there's multiple reports from this as well. Like, why are there like 40 to 44 people that are not, endorsing him this year? Like, people that were in his administration. If you were trying to buy a car, and then 44 people that used to work in Ford or whatever, they were like, "Hey, do not buy that car. We know a lot of crazy things that's going on under the hood with that car. You would not buy that car." So I think it's a lot of the same. Like, we, and just even talking about like not him being comparable to any other president that we've had. It's just, I guess it's the representation. It's a symbol. The president is supposed to be a job that is it's regal. You don't put somebody up there that's going to represent the U.S. that gets in fights all the time, can't control his mouth, is inflammatory.
It's interesting you would say that. By the way, Joan Smith, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support on YouTube. It's interesting you would say that about Trump getting in fight. Folks are suggesting that Biden is the one, and possibly Kamala Harris are the ones that are going to make us look like a laughingstock on the global stage. You're saying the opposite.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely saying the opposite. We've seen polls that have saw that U.S. confidence in the U.S. went down when Trump was in office. We can look at things like the UN. Like when he was in the UN, he was laughed out of the UN. He said that my administration is the best administration.
I saw that. That's embarrassing.
And he was like, that's never happened before. To my knowledge, that's never happened before. And you can even look at things like the G20 summit. Like, there are other leaders like laughing at him, laughing at what he perceives to be strength. Pushing people aside, trying to get in the first row of pictures. That's not strength. That's perceived strength on his side. So this idea that we're being laughed at right now. There's a lot of countries that have expressed that. It's kind of like when Biden came back in, the adults back in the driver's seat. Wow. So we see a lot of that. There's not a lot of confidence globally for when Trump is in office.
All right, fair enough. I got it. Moving on. Ill Will, appreciate the support. Thank you for coming through. Come on back anytime.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you. Real quick in the comments, I thought this was a bit humorous. Jesse on YouTube said this conversation is making him hungry for some Trump cereal. I would buy a box of that as a prop. I like political memorabilia and things like that. If it wasn't $25 a box, that's just $25 a box. But I wouldn't mind buying a box of Trump cereal, but 25, maybe 10. $25 a box. Looking in the comment. Listen, I would buy the shoe. The shoes may end up being might be a good investment. The shoes may be worth something. What do they call it? Not an artifact, but I forget what you call it. But the shoes may end up being not an antique or whatever the hell word I'm looking for. But the shoes may end up being worth something years down the line. I mean, they are political memorabilia. Just guessing. Looking in the comments, I can't stomach ignorant fools. Somebody pull it next to me. I can't stomach ignorant fools. You will be throwing your money into the street soon. As the Bible says, I'm not even religious. Throwing your money into the street, how? What are you referencing? I don't get that. The people attacking free speech call themselves liberal and progressive. That is literally an attack on the English language, and you are completely wrong. Yellow 54, before I go back to the box, tap the screen, get the likes up to 150. Can we make that work this Thursday evening? Appreciate you folks rolling with me. Left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We believe in free speech. By the way, if you support open dialogue like this, all sides of the aisle without censorship. Follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Appreciate that. We're here Monday through Friday, same time. Yellow54 says the people attacking free speech call themselves liberal and progressive. That is literally an attack on the English language. Let me just make it clear. Trump stated anyone caught, burning the flag should get a year in prison. That's free speech. That is free speech. Colin Kaepernick, get that son of a bitch off the field for taking a knee. That's free speech. I don't want to ever hear that only the liberals are trying to silence free speech. All of that shit that Trump is speaking out against is covered by the First Amendment, the very First Amendment. So the idea that only the liberals are doing it is something you see because the banning of free speech that Trump is attempting to engage in, you agree with it. That's the only difference. You agree with what the Trump campaign is doing, and you disagree with what the liberals are doing. Period. That's all it is. Made me smile says, why are you voting for Kamala Harris? I'm not there yet, but I make it clear on the program. One of my biggest issues with President Trump, and I don't believe everything about Trump is bad or everything about the Democrats is good. I would like to hear what the hell Kamala Harris plans to do if she's given the nation's highest office, if she's promoted to commander-in-chief. But I've made it clear that Trump has promised to give police immunity from prosecution. And his quote was he's going to work with liberal mayors and liberal governors to reduce crime in liberal cities. So he wants to give police immunity from prosecution to bring down crime in liberal cities and liberal areas. Now, I'm from the south side of Chicago, damn it. I know who is committing most of the crime in liberal cities. People like me, people who look like me, and other people of color. So the solution to lower crime that is predominantly being committed by people of color is to get a police immunity from prosecution. That frightens me. I want $2 gas. I want a lower, more controlled economy, lower inflation, damn it. Make groceries affordable. I'm with all of that. But not if I got to give police immunity from prosecution. I drive about 100 miles a day on my day job. I'm always in a vehicle. That's why you see me most of the time behind the wheel. The idea, and I don't have any criminal history. I always say my record is cleaner than most cops. But the idea that I could end up being pulled over by a police officer that has immunity from prosecution, that frightens me. That ain't bashing Trump. That's a legitimate concern. And I don't want to hear about this, well, if you don't do nothing wrong, you don't have to worry bullshit. I might be a damn criminal if I had immunity from prosecution. You can make bad people out of what normally might be a responsible, morally good person if there is zero accountability for what they do. Trump promised to give police immunity from prosecution, and he did not explain that any further than that. That frightens me. I'll leave it at that. Maybe some of you folks are okay with that. Look, if you support the Constitution, you believe the founding fathers had for a great country, you shouldn't agree with that. You should not. You should be challenging that. If you can see an issue with tampons in bathrooms, but no problem with giving cops zero accountability, your shit's backwards. I have to bring it up. That shit's dangerous. There has been a time in America where police did essentially have immunity. Wasn't a good time. It was not a good time in this country. So I'm not going to favor that. And I'm going to bring it up anytime someone asks. Looking in the comments, Make Me Smile says, I got no respect for you, Unc, if you're voting for a female. Wow. Lost it all from... Sorry to hear that, but I'm pointing out to you my biggest concern. Give me a man that's not going to give police immunity and we might be able to have a conversation. But you do realize you're basically saying your whole issue with Kamala is because she's a woman. You're going to queue up the sexist conversation. Do you have an issue with women? I don't know. I'll leave that. Looking in the comments, Hillary was a way better candidate. I thought they called her Killary. Leave it at. All right, going back to the box. But yeah, the immunity thing frightens me. I know a lot of you folks have a different opinion there, but that frightens me. Night Owl. This guy has zero credibility. It's good. He gave them the finger because when America is running on all cylinders, we don't need anything from anyone. I don't know where that's going, but I'll leave it at that. No honest person is voting for Kamala anyway. Okay. All right. Going back to the box. No honest person is voting for Kamala Harris. Big, I don't see the rest of that name. Is it Big Rig or Big Ree? We'll bring them up. Give the box a minute. May Donald Trump, the draft dodger, lose again. Kamala, the anointed one. Brooklyn, anointed? What say you? Big Rex, good afternoon.
Hey, brother. Hey. I just joined, so I mean, I've been in and out, but I don't know what the topic is. What are we talking about?
Oh, wow. We're talking about, have you been watching the DNC?
I have, some of it. Yes, sir.
Any opinions? Did you see some? Do you favor what you're seeing, or is there a lot of criticism there?
No, I loved it. I don't know what people would have a problem with it for. I mean, they spoke exactly what they want to do. I didn't hear none of that in Trump's rallies. At the Republican national thing, I didn't hear none of that there.
You didn't hear him say they want to get the border under control, get the cost of inflation and the economy down? You didn't hear none of that at the RNC?
I heard that, but everybody says that. I mean, that's okay. I understand all that, but that's just a thing that they use when they don't have nothing else to say. They don't have no policies in place, nothing. Trump don't have any idea how to make a policy. All he does is make whatever it takes to benefit him. That's it.
So why do you think so many folks believe the country ran much better under him than under Biden?
I have no idea, because I didn't notice no. Honest, literally.
Do you drive a car?
Because when Biden, I do.
You didn't notice the cost of your insurance, the cost of fuel, the cost of parts? You didn't notice any difference at all under Trump?
No.
Where do you live at?
That shit went up.
What state are you in?
I'm in the Southeast, South Carolina.
No difference.
Insurance has always been high, so I don't worry about that part, because you're gonna pay it because you got to drive.
Yeah, but you're right. It's always been high, but under Biden, it's been higher. You didn't notice that?
Mine ain't changed. I ain't got no increase in mine. I'm a good driver, though. I mean, that might make a difference. I don't know.
What about the cost of your grocery bill?
Now, I noticed that.
Right.
When I with my damn dogs, I used to spend $70 for dog food, and now I spend $150.
Right.
And I don't understand why,
No. Trump is promising to get some of that under control.
Yeah, I doubt it, man. Ain't no fucking way. He, that's just him talking, because he says all that, but then once he gets in office, like he did last time, he did absolutely nothing but rally for the entire 4 years for the next election.
Yeah, but the economy was in pretty good shape back then, was it not?
Well, that was left over from President Obama, man. And then once he dragged everything that Obama did down, then we had COVID. So when COVID come along, everything just, it seemed like it was better because he was giving people money and all that. But then President Biden had to take over with a fucked up economy. And he got everything pretty much straightened out, man. You just have to look at it the right way, not just be, Democrat or Republican. It was a fucking mess, man.
So do you believe Biden has done a good job in his 4 years?
I believe he's done the best he can. If they ever get rid of Mitch McConnell and people like that, then things will be a lot better. Wow. Because Mitch McConnell ain't worth a damn. He's just against anything the Democrats want to do.
Isn't he the one that said he was going to? Isn't he the one that said he was going to make Obama a one-term president? I think wasn't that him?
That motherfucker said he will not support him if he becomes president. From day one, he would not support him, and he didn't at all, in nothing.
Right. But I got JB in the comments on YouTube stating that a vote for Kamala is a vote for doom in this country.
Let me tell you something. This is what I know from experience, from other people and my own. A woman has more damn common sense than any man I know, because they all the man brings to the relationship normally is finances. The woman runs the house. She takes care of everything. And people don't want to give women credit for that.
So you go against the argument that a woman does not have the temperament for a tough gig like this. You believe she's actually favorable for the job.
I do.
Wow.
Because I know women. Women are strong as hell, man. They don't speak out like men do. Because men have an ego thing. They like to prove how tough they are with their mouth. Women sit back and get shit done and don't say a goddamn thing.
Wow.
That's what I noticed.
So you think Kamala's ready on
business side of it?
So you see Kamala is ready on day one then?
Yeah. She's been in office 4 years. She knows exactly what's going on. She can't be fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, she can. A person can be stupid. They can be stupid. I'm not saying she is, but you can be stupid.
Well, she can walk and spit at the same time.
That's not good considering some of the rumors floating around.
It don't matter. Really, it don't matter because they talk shit about her when she was a district attorney. That was her job.
Yeah.
They want to focus, well, she did black people like this. Motherfucker, if they were doing crime, then they going to get punished the same as a white person would.
Yeah, good point.
You know, California had a lot more black people committing crimes, obviously, but they focused on just that, black men going to jail for unlimited time. Well, don't do the crime.
Yeah.
She was doing her job. So it ain't like, well, I don't like black people, so I'm just going to burn them. What the hell? That's dumb as hell.
But Tiger Vamp in the comments states that Kamala was a DEI hire. In other words, she only got the job because of either her gender or being a person of color. What say you?
That woman is extremely intelligent. Ain't got nothing to do with DEI or whatever that term is they use. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They don't just put people in place like that with that much power because she's black. Well, we need a black woman in this job now.
But just being honest, didn't Biden suggest that he was deliberately going to pick a black woman for VP? Didn't he come out and say that?
Yeah, he did say that, and that was dumb as hell. I don't know why he would say that. I mean, I guess he just wanted the black vote or whatever, but that was dumb. It don't mean nothing, though.
Yeah, but it does mean that she got the job, maybe because if Kamala Harris had been a white woman with the exact same credentials, she would have been off limits because he was literally looking for a black woman, rather.
I don't even know why they try to segregate it like that. You just get the best person for the damn job, man. The lady proved that she knows what she's doing, you know?
Right.
And now she, as vice president, she learned her job. She knows what entails to be a president, you know?
Well,
she knows what needs to be done. So I have no problem with her stepping up, period.
Why isn't she doing interviews? I've been asking folks that. Why the hell isn't she telling us what she's going to do?
Why isn't she?
Yeah. Not one interview.
Because they're gonna try to they're gonna try to pick apart every fucking word she says and turn it around to fit their agenda. Which she don't need to, you know?
But Big Rex, that's politics. When Trump gives interviews, certainly when he went to the black convention, they did the same thing to him, picked all his, that's where the whole black jobs thing came from, criticized the hell out of him. He went into an environment that he knew would not be friendly, yet even though folks say he said this or said that, he had the kahunas to do that. You're telling me that Kamala Harris essentially is deliberately trying to avoid adverse conversation.
Well, I mean, when you say it like that, that could be how it's taken. I don't think so, though, really. I just know that Trump, if he did anything with black people, it was because he needed their vote. I saw him hanging around all the entertainers and boxers and all that. That's good. But he was doing that before he was president.
Yeah.
You know?
But you can't say the guy doesn't like blacks, but then when he hang with blacks, you say he's only trying to pander to blacks. That's kind of really unfair to him to some degree.
Nah, it ain't unfair to him, man. This dude earned everything he get. I'm telling you. That motherfucker got a lot more coming, too.
Oh,
it's
my
just
God.
that simple, man.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Big Rex, good conversation. Anytime. Come on back here.
Tim, I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one here. I'll be here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on with the program. Ed G, I wanted to thank you for a couple of super chats. Ed G said because Biden and the Dems is why. Well, there's a lot of things you can blame on Biden and the Democrats. I get your point, but I don't know if I totally agree with it. And damn righty, that sandwich. Oh, you following along the lines of Gen X? Fuck around and find out, talking about them sandwiches. For you folks who may not watch the program all the time, Gen X is one of the loyal viewers that often talks about women are only good for making sandwiches. He's not. Listen, he's for real. Some of these comments you guys are hearing, you may agree or disagree with. When we say free speech, we mean it. And it encourages people to say how they really feel. But Gen X doesn't believe that a woman should be allowed to vote. Certainly should not be allowed to run the country. Same as some of my other folks who have stated some folks believe women don't have the right temperament to lead this great nation. And Gen X is one of those. Name Barber says, they acted like she worked at Walmart before this. And I will back that up. On paper, Kamala Harris is qualified to be president. You might not like her policies. She leans too far to the left. If you're on the right, I get it. But listen, a woman got a law degree. Most politicians in Washington are lawyers, with the exception of maybe Trump, but most of them have law degrees. She's had a lot of time in law. And she's been promoted up the chain. She's got 4 years as a senator, so she came out of that environment as well. She's been in elected positions. So not only is she getting promotions, she's earning them by winning elections. She's qualified. She just leans left, and you don't like, this is for my beloved MAGA side of the house. She leans left, and you don't like left-wing politics. I get it, but she is qualified. If she leaned right and had those exact same qualifications on her resume, the right would be okay with her. I'll tell you this, she actually has more qualifications than Obama. I think how long was Obama a senator? For 2 years, I think? And he was campaigning most of that. She actually has more qualifications on her resume than Obama does. And Obama turned out to be okay. Sometimes, just like in the NBA, some of the best players didn't even go to college. Kobe, LeBron. I mean, sometimes, the qualifications are great, but sometimes it just matters if you are morally good. I'll tell you this. In my humble opinion, there may be a hell of a lot of you folks tuning in right now that would make a good commander-in-chief, despite folks saying you don't have qualifications. Keep in mind, as president, you don't know all the shit you're making decisions on. This is what Trump meant by suggesting he was going to surround himself with the best and brightest. As president, you make sure the right experts are in their positions. They give you the right advice, and you pretty much are just offering signatures. That's kind of how it works. I would submit to you, a lot of you folks watching probably could be a decent commander-in-chief. As long as you surround yourself with the best, brightest experts and don't do dumb shit, you might be able to make it work. You don't need to be a genius. It's not rocket science. Kissing hands, what do they call it? Kissing babies, shaking hands and kissing babies. A lot of it is just being personable, which some would argue Trump is not. But a lot of it is being personable. Let's say, for instance, you don't have any background in business like Trump does at all, because a lot of folks say he's a good president because he's a businessman. Okay, well, I don't have business. I'll go out and hire Trump. I'll hire somebody that is good at business and put them over that particular three-letter organization. Problem solved. You don't always need this lengthy resume to make this happen. Just want to say that. Look at it in the comments, and I agree with Debo. It's all about the cabinet. That is true. As long as you surround, and that's what they were asking Trump to do. And he promised to surround himself with the best and brightest. He just didn't do that. Or if he did, he didn't take their advice. Going back to the comment section, I wanted to address a super chat, if I can get my device to work. Sandwiches and making babies. There's Gen X. We talked about Gen X doesn't believe women should be able to vote, and certainly not run this country. And his response says he believes women are good for sandwiches and making babies. Shout out to JD Vance. I think JD Vance quietly is on team Gen X. You just can't say it because it isn't good for politics. But I think J.D. Vance is kind of down with that too. Naeem Barbara, he went to talk because he didn't have momentum. It's like a man without a gun asking you to throw hands and fight like a man. Hey, that does happen. Let me go back to the box. This is nonsense. We have to use common sense. Nonsense how? State your case. Felicia, I cannot pronounce the rest of that, so we'll stop with Felicia. Good afternoon, Felicia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How do you pronounce the rest of that name?
My maiden name's Caiazzo.
Okay. Is it Italian or something?
It's very Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. What do you think? You think a woman is capable of running this country?
Absolutely. But I don't think it's male or female. It's just the best person for the job. But the only reason I jumped in here is I've had that video where he's talking about black jobs in my queue here.
Let me hear it. Let us hear it.
All right, here you go.
Kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Okay.
So that's what he said.
So he did say Hispanic jobs. My other guess was right. He did say Hispanic jobs.
He did, and I thought she was dead wrong, and he did, but I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you heard Michelle Obama speaking, but I loved her line when she said, who's going to tell him the job he's currently seeking?
It's one of those black jobs, yeah. Hell, I tell you one thing, to me, Michelle Obama's speech at the DNC was kind of like, you don't need to play basketball to know who Michael Jordan is. That was probably one of the best speeches at a convention historically. Probably going to go down in history as one of the best ever. So everybody's heard that. And you're picking the best part of that speech. So yeah, everybody's heard that.
Yeah, she was great. So I'll let someone else come up. I just wanted to play that for you.
All right. And it sounds like I was wrong on that. Thank you for playing it, by the way.
Sure.
All right. So he did indeed mention both black and Hispanic jobs. All right. But why not white jobs though? Why not white jobs? Is it wrong to ask that? I mean, are Hispanics only competing for black and Hispanic jobs? I mean, what are we trying to say? The jobs they work that no white people do them? That's what I stated earlier. It sounds like he's giving white employees some kind of a hierarchy. Like they don't do those menial jobs that an immigrant would want. Those are the kind of jobs that black people and Hispanics are doing. Let me know if you guys think I'm getting it wrong. I'm in Canada, says Serge. The economy is bad everywhere. Stop lying. Yeah, the economy is bad everywhere. But as I often say, when you're the coach of a team, you get credit for the wins and losses. You don't get to blame anybody else. You're the coach. It happens that way. If the global economy got better, our president would be getting credit for that, even if he had nothing to do with it. So if the global economy starts failing, our president is going to get credit for that. Just like under Biden, he is currently getting credit for wars that are breaking out all over the damn place. Even though America's not even in the wars. They're not even in these wars. And he's getting credit for it. But when Trump was president, the planet was fairly calm. And Trump is getting credit for that, even though he had nothing to do with it. That's kind of how it works. I'm not saying it's fair, but that is kind of how it works. Folks are saying, well, under Trump, there were no wars, as if all of the 180 some odd world leaders just decide, oh shit, Trump's around. Let's all behave. And there are people that believe that, by the way. There are people who do believe that everybody is scared of Trump and frightened of Trump, so they're all going to behave. It's comical, but there are people that believe that. Going back to the box. Okay. Here's what it is. Gen X, fuck around and find out. Good afternoon. Have you guys noticed Iran has not attacked? That's because Biden's team is holding them back. Actually, I got Lawrence. Lawrence, good afternoon. Lawrence, are you there?
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You might have a weak signal.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got a weak signal. We'll try to make it work. I'll give you the floor. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Much better. Absolutely. Much better. I saw you holding on. What brought you to the program?
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Listen, you said something about Trump saying giving cops immunity.
Yes.
That wasn't the only thing he said. He said he also bringing back the stop and frisk.
Ooh.
Now, I'm a New Yorker, so I remember how that affected us. Okay?
That's even
80%
worse.
of the people that was stopped and frisked was, of course, people that look like me and you. That's just how it was.
Where did you hear?
So
I would like to find that. Where did you hear him say that at?
You know what? I'm driving, but I'm going to send that to your inbox.
Please.
Exactly what he said.
Please
Okay?
do. Please do.
Because when I heard that, I was like, and because remember, that was a Rudy Giuliani thing.
Yep.
That's who instituted that in New York City. It was Rudy.
Yep.
So Trump wants to institute that along with giving cops immunity, because now they have just the total package. They can just stop whomever you want, frisk them, and then you don't have to worry about anything. And that is very dangerous.
That is incredibly dangerous. I would like to see that. Yeah, and the thing about it is I bring this up on the program all the time. You get a lot of folks that support Trump who bring up, you don't want anybody to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. Well, what you're talking about is infringing on the Fourth Amendment. If you're for the Bill of Rights, you're for people having rights. Don't give up your Fourth Amendment because you're happy that you're getting a second. You should want all of those rights maintained. The idea that a cop could just stop you for no damn reason at all, the fact is, because a lot of folks believe that if you're doing nothing wrong, you shouldn't mind letting them pat you down or search your car. Fact is, they make mistakes. They may see something in your car that leads to you getting arrested that is meaningless. People have been taken to jail because they saw sugar on the ground, or like if you live in the north portion of this country where people use rock salt to melt snow, some people that's been confused as methamphetamine before. I mean, so they make mistakes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason why virtually every attorney in the business tells you don't consent to searches at all, no matter what your race is. So, yeah, that's crazy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
And here's another thing. It's the hypocrisy of it, because Trump, out of his mouth, and I'm pretty sure you heard the speech that he said, listen, if you take the Fifth Amendment, you are guilty. No one should be taking the Fifth Amendment if you're not guilty. And then what does he do? He turned around and pleaded the Fifth.
Yeah.
So it's like they are okay with the law. A certain side, don't want to name any names, they are okay with the law protecting them.
Wow.
But they're not okay with being bound to the law.
Yeah.
And the flip side, they don't want that same law to protect others, but they want them to be bound to that law. And I'll end with that.
Appreciate you coming on. Great information. Send me that stop and frisk. I am dying to see that.
Yes. I'm going to send it the moment I stop.
You sound like Lil Wayne opening up for Georgia. You sound like Lil Wayne opening up for Georgia. Thank you, though. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. Yeah. We talk about the economy as a reason to not vote for Kamala Harris, but this stuff here, to quote Cat Williams, this shit right here, if he's talking about giving police immunity, the right to stop and frisk, I want to ask MAGA. Let me have a conversation with my beloved MAGA side of y'all. Is it wrong to criticize this stuff? Should we focus on the economy, $2 gas, no world wars, low inflation? Should we just ignore this? I mean, because he is saying it. This isn't someone misinterpreting him. This isn't a CNN article. It's coming out of his mouth directly. I mean, I have him on video saying he wants to give the police immunity from prosecution. Should you just ignore that? and hope for the best? I don't, I see Lil Jon. Yeah, somebody said you meant Lil Jon. Yeah, not Lil Wayne, Lil Jon, right, my fault. But yeah, are you saying that you just should ignore that? If police get immunity and they receive the right to stop and frisk, you're losing rights. Somebody somewhere is going to lose some rights. There is no denying that. There is no denying that that will not victimize some people if they get the right to search you without cause and the right to do whatever without any immunity. Now, I will tell you this, and I see in the comments, Tyrese Bradshaw says you are lying, played a whole clip about immunity. Go find it yourself. I don't have, I'm not in my makeshift studio, but I've played it enough times that enough people like you were convinced that I'm correct about it. Period. Every person that you bring it up to says you're not playing the whole clip. I'm telling you for almost verbatim, almost damn near quoting him what he said. I want to bring down crime in liberal cities. I'm going to work with liberal mayors and liberal governors. I want to give the police immunity from prosecution because they're not respected, and to give them their powers back. All you got to do is type that in Google and it'll bring the video up that he said. Come on now. Look, but I understand. It is sometimes more difficult, particularly for MAGA, to accept that Trump said things that you may or may not agree with. He said it. He said it. I try to run a somewhat fair program. I'm willing to defend Trump where I think he might be overly criticized. I'm not making this shit up. Period. If you don't favor hearing criticism of Trump, I get it. But this isn't being made up. Not only did he say it, he's on video on stage, and you can literally watch his lips move to the words. It's not an article. It's not a reporter. It is him telling you that shit. Now what I want to see is, as my last caller pointed out, is there a video, once again, of his lips moving and words like stop and frisk coming out? I want $2 gas and all that other shit, but I'm not going to ignore this. I'm going to bring it up. If you support Trump, you don't want me saying a damn thing about it. I get it, but it's loss of rights, folks. It would lead to loss of rights. It would lead to loss of freedoms. And if they got immunity, who knows where that might go? If he did say that, conservatives would never go for that crap. Okay, maybe they won't go for it. They wouldn't go for Beto O'Rourke saying, you're damn right, we're going to take your AR-15s either. But they criticized him for saying it. They didn't vote for him because of what he said. They held him accountable for it. So if Trump is saying something wild like this, shouldn't he kind of face the same outcome? Or as I said earlier, should we ignore that? Should we ignore that? And by the way, like I said, taking away your AR-15s, as Beto O'Rourke stated, Mr. Ray, yeah, appreciate the hat mustache. Before I go back to the box, as I just stated, when Beto O'Rourke talked about taking away your AR-15s, which is a direct violation of the Second Amendment, the right held him accountable for it. He never became a senator. They held him accountable. He said he was talking about taking freedoms away. Well, stop and frisk is taking away your Fourth Amendment right. The right against unwarranted searches and seizures. In other words, unless you have a warrant, you can't just start patting me down and searching my shit. If he's on video saying that he is okay with taking away the Fourth Amendment right for people, I don't see how that's any different than Beto O'Rourke, other than some people favor the Second Amendment and they're willing to give away the Fourth. That's all. By the way, also too, before I go back to the box, in regards to this, losing freedoms, I brought up earlier in the program that Trump wants to give flag burners a year in prison. He brought this up when they were protesting what's going on in Israel. And you had folks setting the American flag on fire and things like that. And Trump recently stated that they should get a minimum year in jail. That's also a First Amendment right. You have a First Amendment right to do that. You're defending the Second Amendment while giving away all the other ones. I have to point it out because people don't seem to be hearing this stuff. You're losing rights. Now, I'm not saying that Trump would ever be able to do this stuff. but he's talking about it. That's a First Amendment right he's talking about giving away. And as my last caller pointed out, the whole notion that if you plead the fifth, you got something to hide, it means you work for the mob and all of this other stuff. That's another amendment. You actually have the right to plead silent. You have the right to remain silent. You do. Why the hell are we taking away rights? Is the Second Amendment all we give a damn about? All of these other surrounding amendments, are people are joking about taking them away, and there's no criticism? That's the first, fourth, and fifth I just gave you right there. And all we're bitching about is the second. Priorities, people, priorities. Going back to the box, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Get us up to about 180. We can certainly do that. Easy for police to frame people then, too. Well, if they got immunity, they don't need to frame you at all. Just do whatever the hell they want to you. Gen X. This should be interesting. Guns, 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 guns. Yeah, you sound like, who had the song? Girls, girls, girls. What was that? Is that David Lee Roth or somebody? Gen X, good afternoon.
What's going on, Mr. Tim? Good afternoon to you.
I'm in the trenches today, man. I'm in the trenches. Have you heard about Trump promising the... Huh?
I'm sorry?
Have you heard about...
What you were looking for earlier was a collector's item.
The shoes, yes, the shoes, yeah. Trump shoes. I would buy them if they weren't so damn expensive. I ain't paying $300 for them, but I would, just like the cereal, he don't sell shit for cheap. He sells that stuff for very expensive. I bought an Obama, when Obama was president and Trump was doing that whole birther thing, he had a mug that he was selling for campaign money, and it has a picture of him on the front and his birth certificate is on the back. I think I paid like $10 for it. So, but Trump talking about this stop and frisk, police immunity. We talked about this before, but I didn't know stop and frisk was in there too. What say you?
Like I said, I'm not a fan of absolute immunity for anyone. I don't see anything wrong with qualified immunity. As long as it's within reason. I mean, cops kind of need that. And I think what he was talking more about is bringing it back from the states that have taken it, because some states have all out taken qualified immunity.
How so? What do you mean? How so?
They've taken it. They've gotten rid of qualified immunity.
I've never heard of that. I'd have to. What about stop and frisk? You're okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I ain't got nothing to hide. You want to fucking look.
What do you mean? Well, first of all, you do know some cops make mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Right. Why would you consent to letting the cop search you? You don't gain nothing. The best you can ever do when you let a cop voluntarily search you is you can go back to the neutral position. The only thing you can do is either have something bad happen to you, where you end up in jail, you end up getting a fine, or God forbid, dead, or you can go back to the state you were before you got introduced to the cop. Why would you get involved in that?
Well, now let me clarify that a little. I mean, if they're just gonna hop out of the car and walk up and say, "Yeah, hit the car, let us pat you down," no, go fuck yourself. If they pull up to me and say, "Hey, we got a call if somebody pulled a gun on somebody else, guy matching your description, wearing a black coat. You mind if we check you out?" No, absolutely.
Okay, so only if you are similar to the likeliness of somebody accused of committing a crime.
If they have reason to if they have articulate suspicion to think that I was in some kind of wrongdoing, yeah, that's okay. Then, yeah, I have no problem.
Well, you do know stop and frisk. When people support stop and frisk, it goes way beyond that. I don't think that's what Trump is talking about. He's talking about just to bring down crime. The police, if they think somebody is, if let's say, for instance, you got a known drug dealer that you locked up 6 months ago, and you see him standing on the corner, and you know this guy has a history of drug dealing. Let's go search him. He probably has something on him. Do you support that?
Man, Jim, this is not going to be real popular, but yeah.
Okay. So you do support stop and frisk?
Because he's got a background, you know what I mean?
if you sleep with dogs, you're going to get fleas. You know what I'm saying?
So how does he ever? So how does he ever escape his background if the cops are allowed to keep judging him based on it?
Well, let me put it this way. If I see the guy 6 months down the road standing on the corner with a newspaper, wearing a suit, you know what I mean, looking like, looking good, or nice clothes. No, if I see him standing on the corner with his pants hanging down to his ass and a fucking red or blue rag hanging out of it, get your ass up on that wall, man. What's the matter with you?
Now, you know this stuff is sounding racist as you go along, but I'll let you tell. So you're okay. In other words, if the person fits a certain description, the police can act on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. You know that's a Fourth Amendment violation, right?
I would rather them do that than have the motherfucker sell my 13-year-old a bag of dope that my kiddo overdoses on.
What if your 13-year-old's the one they patting down and scaring the shit out of him?
Then he better hope they keep him in jail, because when he gets out, I'm whipping that ass.
No. I'm saying, what if you have a 13-year-old that ain't done nothing wrong, but the cops think he fits the description of somebody that does, and they're patting him down and asking him where the weed at or where, and they scaring the shit out of him. So now he comes home all screwed up in the head and not liking police.
That's kind of a double-edged sword, Tim.
I hate to say this, but not if you're a black man. Keep going.
Now hold on. Now you brought
it out of me. You brought it out of me.
You're gonna miss me with the black thing, because I grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
All right.
And they treat us just like blacks and Puerto Ricans, man. They ain't no fucking different. We're thugs too, man.
Okay.
And they know it.
But why are you favoring this stuff? Why are you even remotely supporting? This is clearly violations of the Bill of Rights. Why are you even supporting this stuff?
Because when you're a healthy, law-abiding, God-fearing American and family man, that stuff, it's very inconsequential for the safety of your community. You know what I mean? I know it's not going to be. I'm not going to be out there with a fucking 38 tucked in my fucking in my pocket with a pocket full of dope. Not saying that wasn't me at one time, but now I mean, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's a double-edged sword, man.
I don't think so. You either believe in the second. I'm about to say the Second Amendment. You either believe in the amendments we have or not. It's not a double-edged sword. It's clearly a violation of your constitutional rights. Just like you're saying that allowing them to stop and frisk people could bring down crime, you sound like a liberal saying allowing folks to take away guns could bring down murders. I mean, that's pretty much what you're saying, is you're willing to sacrifice a right because you think it'll be good for the greater good. That's what the liberals say about the Second Amendment. They don't like you.
Yeah. What's that?
I saw the sign pop up. Keep going.
What sign?
You know, every time you and I talk, a violation pops up.
What did I say? Did you say it or did I say it?
I don't know, man. You know how it is. You know I'm not censoring the damn thing, but you do understand what I'm saying, right? Is that you're taking away rights. I
get you, bro. I get you. I can see your perspective on that. Absolutely.
Yeah. To me,
I guess I see both sides of it. I mean, I don't. That's like the whole immunity thing. I don't like it because I really see how that could blow up in our faces, but I understand it.
No, I don't I don't even say you understand it. To me, like I said, it you know what it sounds like to me? It almost sounds like an us versus them conversation. In other words, don't take away the rights of us, but you can take away rights as long as it's for them. Like that whole immunity thing, he clearly mentioned liberal cities and liberal mayors and well, a lot of the folks that are living in rural Alabama that might be strong MAGA, strong Trump supporters, well, he said liberal cities. He's not talking about us. So it's okay to take away rights when it's someone else's right. You start talking about taking away the Fourth Amendment, stop and frisk. Yeah, it'll lower crime, but don't fuck with my guns. So, yeah, you're okay when it's somebody else that is happening to.
Yeah, go fuck with them. Leave me alone.
Right. All right, Jen. All right, we finally agree.
About the RFK thing.
Yeah, now RFK is allegedly going to drop out and endorse Trump tomorrow.
What do you think about that?
I think that RFK, who originally ran to be the leader of the Democratic Party, was on some bullshit. Clearly, he was never a Democrat. If you're going to drop out and not only endorse Trump, but they're suggesting he might end up serving on Trump's cabinet, he was never a Democrat. Never was.
What do you think that's going to do for Kamala's campaign?
Nothing. It's not going to hurt her at all. The Democrat, I would say the amount of Democrats that were going to vote or even looking towards RFK is inconsequential. The Democratic Party knew dude was a fraud from day one. I mean, if you listen to the policies, we talk about Kamala Harris and lack of policies. If RFK was discussing policies, the Democratic Party was not biting on any of that stuff. He's talking about vaccines and shit. So he's not going to hurt the Democratic Party by doing that at all.
Kamala don't need policies, though.
Really?
No, she wasn't voted into her candidacy. That's how communism works.
Oh, my God.
She'll tell us what's going to happen before she does it. That's how communism works.
Oh, my. I'll lead it. Well, you know, I always...
action to get rid of the Second Amendment. Her forced buyback program.
Well, as I just pointed out, anytime somebody brings up that the Democrats want to take away the Second Amendment, you now see I have a counter with the Fourth Amendment.
Yep.
Yeah, so
that's kind of why I brought that up, actually.
Yeah. So at this point, talking about the Democrats want to take away your guns, when this guy wants to let them stop and frisk you and give them immunity, they kind of cancel out at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
All
right.
Get you, brother. I get you.
Appreciate it. Gen X, always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, my friend. You have a great rest of your day, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Good talk. You too. All right, looking in the comments, and Ed G, you got enough abbreviations here that I'm not able to quite. You said I'm MAGA. Nothing wrong with that. You said I am MAGA, but fuck. Okay, I get it now. You didn't want to say the words. Okay, I'm MAGA, but fuck stop and frisk. Only if probation and parole. Shout out to you. Exactly. Same thing about giving cops immunity. I don't think most MAGA agree with that. Let me just say this, by the way, too. As I told my last caller, the us versus them, it's okay to take away rights when they're not coming from you. Understand, folks, eventually all of this shit affects you. You're not impervious to this. Yeah, okay, under Trump, he decides to allow them to have immunity in liberal cities to lower crime. Okay, then what do you think the next president is going to do? Maybe he decides that in your city, the cops need to have immunity. Just like with everything from the RICO Act, George W. Bush's Patriot Act, the primary victims of that stuff now is Americans. When it came out, the RICO Act was all about going after the mob, the Al Capone types, the Teflon Don types. Now they're using it on regular Americans, even up to and including bank fraud and things like that. Same thing with the Patriot Act. We're stopping terrorism. They allowed them to actually go in people's houses without a warrant and did not even have to tell them they were there. So they could go to your house, rummage through all of your shit. As long as they could straighten it out and you not know they were there, they didn't have to tell you. In America, fearing terrorism during the George W. Bush era, we're okay with that. Guess who they're using the Patriot Act against now? Predominantly Americans. So this stuff eventually comes home to roost. Don't support this. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're for Americans having rights, be for Americans having rights. Don't be for Americans losing rights when it's not your ass. Don't be such a fucking hypocrite, because eventually it'll happen to you. So somebody talks about taking away your Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, First Amendment, be against it all around, not just when it's somebody else. Because as I pointed out, Trump talking about giving a person a year in jail for flag burning. Well, I don't burn a flag, so it won't apply to me. Yeah, but it's a First Amendment violation. What about when you do violate the First Amendment? For my beloved MAGA, who favors uncensored conversation like we're having now, all of you folks on the right now favor Elon Musk. He purchased Twitter, turned it into X, and made it uncensored. You want them to start violating the First Amendment on X? You're okay with them doing it to flag burners. What if they start going on X and literally outlawing all of the MAGA conversations on X? You're okay with it now? No. So don't be okay with it when it's happening to some damn body else. Either you're for the Constitution or you're not. Looking in the comments, there are exclusions with the First Amendment. Flag burning is not one of them. Fire in a crowded theater, yes. Flag burning is not an exclusion unless you're taking somebody's property and setting it on fire. But flag burning is not one of those exclusions. Taking a knee during the anthem is not one of those exclusions. Just understand the hypocrisy in this stuff. That's all I'm saying. Looking in the comments, what amendment is broken when 20 million illegals cross the border? There, guy. I don't know. I don't think there's any amendment. Amendments are given to the people. Amendments are your Bill of Rights. That's what you as a citizen has. The border is not protected by an amendment. Wow, I'm a Democrat, and it is a breath of fresh air seeing a MAGA have some common sense. I agree with you. Well, David Johnson, I tend to lean left politically. Appreciate the compliment, though. Thank you. Amen. None of that is okay. Yes, I'm voting for Trump, but I refuse to give up my rights, and I'll die for my rights. I've had your rights violated once, and it will never happen again. Jesse, I consider you a member of the team. Thank you. Going to the box, blessed and favored. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Blessed and favored. Usually it's highly. Maybe you couldn't type it out loud. Blessed. Good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. So you kind of heard the conversation. Do you have any issue, at least like I do, about giving police immunity and allowing them to stop and frisk?
Well, number one, I think that's a great question to ask him at the press conference, because I don't think he's going to agree with that statement.
Wait, you said you don't think he? Who is he?
Trump.
He's the one that's saying it.
Yeah, but I think he would elaborate on that, and I don't think it's clear cut as you're saying. Okay. It's not like everybody's going to be able to do everything they want. He's not going to say that 100%. He's not going to say that 100%.
Why didn't he clear it up when he said it? Why is there?
Because you just don't have to. When you're talking, you don't have time to elaborate on every little thing you say, because you're on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. You just don't have enough time when you speak on TV. You only have a certain amount of time, so you can't go into every single little detail of everything you say. So
let me go ahead and nominate you as his as his cleanup person. I'll give you the floor. You can give me whatever. We're speculating. So you're making it up, but you're defending Trump. Give me what he meant when he said bring back stop and frisk. What do you think he meant?
I mean, it's not going to be. No MAGA wants total immunity. Just so you know, there's nobody on our side that would ever.
I tend to agree, but I'm saying the man said it, and he didn't give a clear explanation like you're saying. So what do you think he meant?
Okay, I think in some occasions, it depends. Like I said, what's the circumstance like?
Give me some examples of how a cop right now does not have immunity.
I mean, what time is it? Does the guy look like he's got a gun coming out of the back of his pants? Because cops look.
Wait, hold on. If a cop if a cop sees somebody with a gun coming out of the back of their pants, tell me what they cannot do right now that Trump's immunity will allow them to do.
Well, I mean, like I said, let me ask you something.
You didn't answer what I asked you. You can ask me anything, but you didn't answer what I just asked you.
Listen, I'm just trying to tell you, I don't agree with 100%. And like I said, I know what he did say that, but I think they need to ask him at a press conference. But Camille, she doesn't seem to show up for press conferences.
Listen, I'm not defending Camille. I'm not defending Kamala at all.
You know why I say that? Because she's changing her policy every second. You can't trust her.
All right. And I don't listen. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that Kamala's all this trustworthy and all this great person. I'm just saying this immunity and stop and frisk stuff is scaring the shit out of me. And I'm not hearing a good explanation for it.
Okay, I agree with you.
Okay. So you do understand people that are frightened by this?
Yes.
All right. All right, fair enough.
Because I am. I don't want them coming by my house and picking me up and doing whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Because there's bad cops out there.
Right. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you, but somebody should ask him at his next press conference. That's a good question.
I hear what you're saying, but to some degree, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to ask him. For him to say something as serious as that, he should explain it. You shouldn't have to demand an explanation from that. I mean, you're talking about giving cops immunity. You realize how bad that's going to look? Or you're talking about giving cops the right to stop and frisk people. They shouldn't have to beg you and press you to explain that, because on its face, it sounds horrible. Also, keep in mind, he also is on video saying that when you put a person in a car and you normally put your hand behind their head to protect their head from hitting the car, remove your damn hand. What does this stuff mean?
Yeah, okay, and I understand what you're saying, but look, this guy says, Trump just says stuff. It's like you have your friend next to you in a car, and he said something without thinking. But at least, listen, you know what this man is thinking. You know what?
No, you don't. I don't know any other person that talks out of the side of their head and don't know what they're thinking that says stuff wild like this. It sounds like he means this stuff. He's talking about making our police a lot more stronger. Everything he's saying is along the same line. Allow them to hurt people. Talking about give them immunity for doing it. Allow them to stop and frisk.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Let's just hypothetically say that they take the immunity away, and the cops can do whatever they want. Are more lives going to be lost on the side of total immunity, or not having the police want to touch anybody because they're scared they're going to get sued?
I think if the police get complete immunity, first of all, you're going to encourage a lot of people that are intolerant, bigoted, and racist to join the police department. Because now you can make your fantasies come true. Not to mention pedos, rapists, all of them. I think it'll be worse. I mean, not to mention, hang on. Can you imagine because currently we already talk about the Hispanic and Black community don't have a lot of fanfare for police. Can you imagine what that's going to do to the relationship with police in the Black and Hispanic communities?
Well, I think you need more training, number one, and I think you'd have to screen them a lot better. But listen, what I'm asking you is, do you feel like more people die right now because the cops are scared to go police a certain area? Or how many people are dying right now for the fact that they don't want to do anything now because they're scared?
I understand. I do agree with you. There's a lot of police that are frightened to do their job, but I don't think immunity is
dying.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Some things are not being done because cops are fearful of how the public may act. But I believe the solution is not immunity; it's better training. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, if somebody's running and you want to, you're scared that if you shoot them in the back, it's going to look bad on TV. You need to be trained that you can't shoot them in the back. I mean, there is some training that is lacking, as opposed to just giving folks immunity, such as you and I both know. If we get pulled over for speeding or something, and we start saying shit to the police, maybe cussing them out, maybe calling them a pig, all protected by the First Amendment, by the way, in most jurisdictions, you and I both know that cop is likely to escalate that encounter. You're likely to get more tickets than you deserve. You might even go to jail. God forbid, get your ass beat. Cops need to be trained to have thicker skin. Your job is to protect and serve the public, not your ego. I could get out of my rabbit ass mind on some strong narcotic, and when the ambulance pulls up and gives me Narcan and brings me back to, spit on the ambulance driver, call him all sorts of names. They won't beat my ass. For some reason, the cops, when they're disrespected, they often resort to violence. Yet all of these other civil service, nurses and doctors and teachers deal with bad people all the time. And you don't see a bunch of videos of teachers, nurses, and all of them beating people's ass. That needs to be trained out of them. Your turn.
Well, I definitely think they need more training. You put a gun in somebody's hand, for the love of God, yeah, they need more training. I'm an EMT. I went to school 6 months, but that's not even really enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly. But yeah, for the police, you put a gun, and then absolutely they need more training. 100%.
Yeah, that's all it is. Everybody who goes to work every day, no matter what you do for a living, can have a bad day or encounter bad customers. You don't get to beat the shit out of the person. Only in the police department do we give them kind of a leeway to actually be violent toward people? And if you give them immunity, because your original question was, do you think more people are going to get killed? If they don't know how to act while wearing a body camera and having a dash cam on, what do you think's going to happen if you give them complete immunity?
No, I just took it to the two extremes. Like today, who's dying more? If the police had, I believe most of the cops are good. That's what I believe, most of them.
I do too. Okay. I do too. But let me say this. I'll let you continue, but let me say this. I don't have a criminal record at all. As I said earlier, my record is cleaner than most cops. If you give me immunity, there's a high likelihood I might do some shit that I shouldn't do. So when you say most cops are good, I'm on your side. But if you suddenly remove all accountability from a group of people that are making $100,000 a year or less and always encountering criminals and things of value and money, you're going to create some bad people. That number of bad cops is going to skyrocket.
All right. So the next question is, I want to ask you this because you know you have a lot of information, so I watch you.
I'll try. I'm not the know-it-all. You guys teach me a lot, but go ahead.
But you've been doing this a lot. So do you think most criminals come from broken families? Maybe we should be focusing on the family unit first to lessen crime instead of taking away gun, doing all this other stuff. Maybe the first problem is trying to get families to stay together and promote that and promote a family unit. What do you think?
I like that. You want to get families to stay together. You got to be in favor of increasing wages so both mom and dad ain't got to work 2 or 3 jobs. The right side of the aisle is not in favor of that. They believe in leaving it up to the free market. We used to grow up in a society where everybody worked 9 to 5. Remember the whole Dolly Parton song? People working all times of night. Everybody's working on weekends and shit. It used to be business hours. You work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You had time to do all the stuff you're talking about. But we remove regulations, let businesses do whatever the hell they wanted, which was all in favor of making more money. You can barely even enjoy Thanksgiving with your family now because employers are telling you got to come back to work and sell TVs at Walmart. So I agree with you, but all it is, let the free market decide shit doesn't work well with what you're suggesting.
But maybe that's the policies we should focus on because I think it'll be a lot less crime.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but like I said, your side believes you should let the free market decide. You're not going to get the nuclear family while letting the free market make their own decisions. They want you at work as much as possible. They don't care about your family.
No, I understand. Which side pushed the feminism movement? Which side was that?
That's the left.
Okay, is that what side you're on? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in that?
I believe in the feminist core message that they should have equality. I don't believe they should be forced to do what J.D. Vance is talking about, just stay at home and make kids. No, I don't buy that. I understand feminism can get out of hand, and it can, at some point, be harmful to the nuclear family you're suggesting. But I also don't believe if a woman is in a bad relationship, she should be forced to stay in the marriage for the sake of the kids. And I know a lot of folks do agree with that. I think J.D. Vance may have even said that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I am for feminism in regards to equality. I don't believe feminists, all of a sudden they want superiority and things. Then that's when I have a problem with it.
Yeah. Like I said, I when I was growing up, because like I said, I'm 50, and I just, like I said, most of the women I knew stayed home, and it seemed like those families worked out better. Honestly, they got along better. Now when they push the women out into the workforce, they're all stressed too. So they're like, I got to come home and I got to do everything, and I got to go to work, and I got to do this, so there's no time to stay together to build any relationship, and everybody's just hustling, bustling to make more money, more jobs, more, and it's just gotten crazy, and I think that has a lot to do with the crime.
I don't disagree with any of that, but as I said earlier, we are a country that brags about we want to be capitalist, we don't want to be socialist, and a lot of the solutions to the stuff you're talking about would come in the form of socialist policies, helping out families, putting regulations on businesses to how much. I mean, like for instance, if a woman gets pregnant, how long do they even give her before she's going to go back to work. I mean, we've allowed the corporations in favor of bottom line and the almighty dollar to literally destroy everything you're talking about. All of that nuclear family shit. Everybody's pursuing money. So all of the stuff you're talking about, you don't have time for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to agree with you on that.
So that's the only way you're going to get that. You're going to have government oversight to prevent all of those stresses that you're talking about that are being imposed upon the family, such as if you want mom to stay home and take care of the kids, you got to make sure dad's making good money. You got to make sure dad is not straddled with all kinds of medical bills when his wife has birth or gives birth. If they need help with the children, daycare, you're going to need socialist policies to cover all of that. And the right doesn't favor any of that. So as a result, that couple has to go out and work like a dog to meet their needs, which destroys the nuclear family in the process.
Yeah, I always thought that since a kid. I mean, like I said, the guy picking up the trash is just as important as the doctor. Without that guy, you get disease, you get pestilence. Everybody's job is important.
Yeah, well.
You know what I mean? Honest to God, we need everybody. So everybody should have a right to make a fair living. Like you said, maybe not 3 houses, but 1 house. 1 car, you know what I mean? You don't have to overgive them, but give them enough to live. Like they said, they can support a family.
You're turning into a liberal, maybe even a progressive right before my eyes. They're blessed. I got to move it on, though.
I love God, and I have morals, and I want to, like I said, I want to do the right thing. I don't believe in abortion. If you're going to ask me that, absolutely not. Because I don't think Jesus would sit down and say, "Oh, should we kill this baby?" I don't think. Oh, you know what? Jesus would say, "You know what? That's a great idea."
I don't think Jesus would like America. Whether we talk about immigrants, whether we talk about our history and slavery, oppression, I don't think Jesus would want anything to do with this whole damn country. If you ask me.
He knows we're all crap. Yeah. That's what he says. So we need him. We're all going to hell without him. So we all need help. Yeah, absolutely. This country and all the people in the world. That's the bottom line. But now getting back to the flag, this is crazy. You're probably gonna think I'm crazy for saying this. That really bothers me. There's so many people that died for freedoms in this country, and it's just I believe that should be looked at as a government property thing because we're all American. That's a government that flag belongs to everybody. Everybody. And I think it's like going up and burning a government building is the same thing as you burning a flag.
Wait a minute. If I go out, hold on. If I go out and purchase my own flag, like, at Walmart, during July 4th, they sell flags to put in if I go buy my own flag or have my grandma stitch me a flag and I set it on fire, you want me to go to jail for that?
I think if you do it privately and you're not out in public, I think that should be like a government property. I think that should be looked at as government property because that symbolizes our whole nation, people dying, millions of people dying to save this nation. That is kind of different. I think that should go under law as government property.
Do you believe in forced patriotism?
I heard your argument on that, but like I said, just with the flag, I mean, like that's something that belongs to everybody. So when you burn it, you're burning my flag too, because my brother died in war fighting for this country just as much as you know what I mean. So you're burning that flag. That should belong to us, America. Okay, like a government property, like a government building. That's how important that flag is. So when they're out there going school, America, well, first of all, what are you even doing here in America if you hate the country and you're burning the flag? Why are you here?
You can't protest. Wait. Now you're really treading on free speech. If I have an issue, hold on. Trump is constantly talking about we have a dilapidated military. He's talking about shithole cities. Do you tell him to leave? He's critical of America. Why can't you have free speech? If there are things about America you don't like.
No, just with the flag, I'm saying. I agree everything else she said, but I think that should be government property.
Okay, now I don't look. So all of the flags in Walmart become suddenly government. Are they going to give them to us for free, or do we have to still buy them?
You could buy the flags, but you could not go out there and burn them in public.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's you taking away rights. All right, I got to move it on.
All right, listen. I don't want to take it rights just with that because that symbolizes so many people died for the freedom.
What about taking the knee? What about taking the knee during the anthem?
What about what?
Taking a knee while the American anthem is playing.
I think you can do that. That's not bad.
All right.
Fair enough. with the flag thing. It's just, I don't know. I think I'm not alone.
What if you didn't burn the flag, but you wrote a nasty message on it?
Oh, I think you can do that.
Okay.
I think you could do that. But listen, let me ask you a question. Where are the flags at all these Democratic conventions? I don't see any flags flying. When I look at Trump, I see 50,000 flags flying up. How come the Democrats are very low on the flags? I'm not going to say none. You might see one blowing around. At 500 people, you see one flag up in the air. Maybe, and that's a maybe. I've been to conventions. I've been to these things. They don't put flags up. They don't like America, period.
Why does putting up a flag? I don't want a flag at my house. That don't mean I hate the damn country.
Not at your house, but at the convention. You're running for America. You don't even look at the convention tonight. You're going to watch that. Tell me how many American flags you see, and then we're going to talk tomorrow. Okay?
All right. I don't know if that really means anything, but we'll
watch that. But please watch that. I'm not making this up.
All right. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you.
Okay, and talk about it tomorrow, please, because you're not going to see any flags.
I'll look for it. All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. And I will say to some degree, I don't know. I'll see what's happening at the DNC tonight. But I do agree with him. The Republican Party is pro-American flag all over the damn place. The Democrats don't do that. I think there was a study somewhere. I read an article or something that said you can tell what political affiliation somebody is if they have a flag in front of their house. The Republican Party is far more into flags like that. To me, that doesn't mean you love the country. I don't buy into that notion that you love everybody ain't about all the damn symbols. Just like some people like designer clothing, other people will be happy with something from Walmart. To me, that's all it is. And I'll tell you this, as someone who lived in a foreign country, I lived in Australia for almost, a half decade, almost 5-6 years. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Yeah, appreciate that. Mr. Ray, thank you. Tap the screen. We might be to get 200,000. We're getting pretty damn close. A lot of support for the program today. Some of you guys favor what we're talking about. Others think I'm full of shit. Fair enough. We're all about free speech here. But I want to say, after living in a different country myself personally, they didn't do that there. And I met a hell of a lot of proud Australians. And I see in the comments, Gen X says burning the U.S. flag isn't free speech, it's treason. No, it's been adjudicated by the Supreme Court. It is free speech. I don't know if the current Supreme Court would agree with that, but it is free speech. Because somebody did try to have somebody punished for it criminally. It is free speech. Real quick, Ed G said arrested with loaded gun, but was legal. So charges drop. Now something when I get pulled over once, they run ID, they come back, guns drawn because it says known to be armed. Wow. I'll talk about what we were talking about for a second, but he said he got arrested with a loaded pew-pew, as you guys often say. I hate having a sense of words, but he got arrested with a loaded pew-pew, and it was legal. So the charges were dropped, but he says sometimes now when he gets pulled over and they run his ID, they come back with their firearms drawn, kind of like a felony stop, because they have him in the system as known to be armed. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Police make mistakes. So don't ever be in favor of giving away your rights because it's only making things better. No, it may make things a lot worse for you. Understand that. The whole flag thing, I'll be sure to look at the DNC and see if I can find it. But yeah, the Democratic Party is not all about the flags like the right is. Keep in mind, there's a lot of minorities as part of the Democratic Party that are so few and far between amongst the Republicans. As I say all the time, I went to a couple of Trump rallies, and there was only a handful of people that looked like me there. And maybe 3,000 small. We were in a conference room. I got 5 or 6 rows back from Trump, so I got good seats. I had to wait about 6 hours to get them, but fair enough. I wanted to be there. And I looked around the room because I knew that would be asked. How many blacks are? I saw in a room of approximately 3,000-4,000 people, I saw maybe 10. So just for shits and giggles, because I couldn't see every damn body, let's say it was 3 times as many. That's not many. So the right, most of the right are on the same team. So the flag and things like that make more sense. And I'll tell you, I've said this many times on the program before, it is a lot easier to be a Republican politician than a Democratic politician. Because for the most part, the Republican community focuses on straight, white, Christian males. And of course, their wives. That's it. The rest of those folks can either get with the program or get ran over by it. The liberal politicians, on the other hand, actually give a seat at the table to Muslims, blacks, gays, women. I mean, all of this, it's much more challenging being a liberal politician than it is being a Republican politician. Because, yeah, the Republican politician tells you, look, we are past that era. You can get with the program we're on now or get ran over by it. The liberals are willing to entertain all of that stuff. So that's why right now the liberals are dealing with all of these Israeli, Hamas, Palestinian protesters. The right wouldn't give a shit about that. And I'll tell you it is. You watch Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, right-wing media, while the DNC is going on, what are they showing you constant footage from? The rioters and protesters outside. They're protesting while the DNC is going on. They're showing you all of these clips of how they're acting. There were folks protesting when the RNC was going on too. They didn't show you that shit. I'll tell you what, if Trump wins in November, I guarantee you won't see anything about those protesters anymore on Fox. They won't care nothing about them anymore. They're only using it because it makes some sort of criticism to the Democrats. They don't give a shit about what they're protesting. Those folks are protesting on behalf of the Palestinians. If Trump gets elected, the right don't give a shit about that. They're for the Israelis. The same thing the protesters are claiming that Biden is for. But they're showing them because the Democrats are in control right now. Once Trump gets in control, what they're protesting won't mean a damn bit. In fact, Trump likely to go in there and say, make sure you arrest them for anything they do wrong. That's how politics works. Nevertheless, folks, I do appreciate, somebody says showboating with the flags. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There is a lot of showboating with the flag, but the right is more celebratory of how we acquired this country. The left is more apologetic for it. I mean, obviously, to acquire America and make this great nation, a lot of people were wronged. It's not like we came here and the natives said, look, it's a great nation. Come on, let's run it together. No, a lot of people lost their lives, were mistreated. The left is very sympathetic to a lot of that stuff. The right is like, shit, that's part of history. That's how it works. So you're going to get more flag flyers from the right than you are from the left. That doesn't mean you hate America because you're critical or you're sympathetic to who we may have wronged in the past. The right is not really... Look, it happened. It's over with. Get over it. That's it. That's how the right views it. So difference in opinion. But I don't believe either side, quote unquote, hates America as many folks suggest. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the 200,000 plus likes. Fairly kind of you folks. Appreciate the participation on this Thursday evening. If you do enjoy civilized dialogue in a MAGA-friendly format, nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Follow the program on TikTok. Subscription on YouTube, if you will. We're here Monday through Friday. Mr. Java, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Always appreciate a few of my supporters on TikTok. But yeah, follow the program on TikTok, YouTube, subscription, if you will. Until then, I'll see you folks tomorrow. I'll be looking for the flag at the DNC. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Gotta go. Thank you also for you folks on YouTube. Real quick, wanted to make sure I didn't miss any super chat. Super chats change the screen color. So any super chat, I don't care if it's 99 cents, it's going to make your comment stand out and it's going to be red. Whereas all the rest of them are the same color. So that's why sometimes I read some of the regular comments and sometimes I don't. Morris Edwards, friend of the program, thank you. This guy does zero research. Says Maine Mermaid. Mr. Mermaid, Mr. or Mrs. Mermaid, I don't want to get your pronoun wrong. Why not state your criticism with a little bit more elaboration to it? You constantly criticize yours truly. I think I've demonstrated clearly you're never going to get blocked, banned, or censored for it. So why don't you put some substance into what you're trying to suggest, and I'll concede a point if you make one. So feel free to do that. Appreciate the input. My Mexican-American wife loves Trump. Shout out to you and your wife. Didn't the Democrats pass the Jim Crow laws? Yeah. Democratic Party was also the party of slavery, yet for some reason the right in 2024 are the ones that decided to celebrate and honor all the heroes that were doing that. I don't understand. You explain it to me. Why for some reason the Democratic Party, being the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, are now against all of their ancestors that did all of that awful shit. And the right are the ones fighting to make sure all of that stuff stays within the public eye. I don't want a school that has been named after an enslaver to have its name changed. I don't want a military base that has been named after someone that was abusing kids. The right is defending all of that stuff. Why is that? You can point out that the Democratic Party was the party of slavery, but why would the right start championing all of the heroes and all of the folks from the Confederacy that was doing all of that stuff? Why would the right fight against the enslavers and then suddenly start waving their flag around? Do you realize how many Union soldiers were murdered by the Confederates? Why would you take the flag of the enemy and start waving it around? Unless maybe they're no longer the enemy. Think about that. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. See you tomorrow.